Welcome to HOJO Radio.
And now a radio crime drama that ran on CBS from February 27th, 1949 to August 1st, 1954. Produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, the opening theme of I'll Take Manhattan introduced Detective Danny Clover, played by Larry Thor, a hardened New York cop who worked homicide. From Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world, we present to you Broadway's My Beat.
The FBI in Peace and War, ordinarily heard at this time throughout the year, is taking its usual summer vacation and will return to CBS 4 weeks from tonight on September 1st.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway. It's a promise you make to yourself in some dismal part of your life, or it's a name you say like a curse. It's a place of golden women and mirrors of chrome, or it's a beggar who will tear off a piece of his soul for a cup of coffee. It's anything you want, any time you want it, and it's My Beat. By 9 o'clock, police headquarters had settled down to its nighttime routine. So far, business was slow. I was sitting in my office straightening out the detail sheets that always accumulated on my desk.
Lieutenant Clover, good evening, sir.
Well, Dr. McClure, Dr. Robbie McClure. It's a pleasure to see you. Sit down. Sit down.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Hey, what's the matter? What's the matter, Doctor? You look pale.
Well, I could give you all the clinical reasons for the way I look. Now... Now, Lieutenant...
Let me get you something, Doctor. I'll be right...
No, wait, Lieutenant. Last month, there was a shooting. It's not that I want to confess to. It's the thing about... you should know about... Last month, the murder that the police never solved. Daddy, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want that...
Dr. McClure. Dr. McClure. Sergeant Tartaglia.
Yeah, Danny.
Come here.
Yeah. Well, what's the trouble, Danny?
Close the door.
Oh, what's all... Danny, what's the matter with Doc McClure?
He's dead.
What?
Flip his coat aside. You'll see why.
Oh, Danny.
And the size of the wound, I'd say it was from a .22 fired from up close. Tartaglia.
Yeah?
Call downstairs and tell him about Dr. McClure. Then get a detail to find out everything you can about the doctor. Friends, relatives, bank account, everything.
Right.
And in the morning, I want the files on every murder that happened about 30 days ago. Unsolved murders. On my desk in the morning.
Right.
Good. I'll see you.
Now, where are you going, Danny?
I'm going to wind back McClure's life. I'm going to find out why he had to die. The great buildings of the city lean against the night in crazy, tilted angles, like lighted toys deserted by a sleepy giant. And there's the feeling that unless you walk carefully, you'll upset their insane balance. But Dr. Robbie McClure's office building was different. It sat square and solid on its haunches, and when you pressed the night buzzer, it growled at you.
Well, sure, my mare, but Danny Clover the Torbert. Canter in, me boy, canter in.
Same old Pippin.
No, not the same, Danny. There are bald spots in me fetlock that I ain't so quick to break from the starting gate like I used to. From a dashing, mounted policeman to a flabby night watchman. Ah, that's a bit of pasture, Danny, me boy. A bit of pasture.
Maybe you're wrong, Pippin. Maybe it's sweet pasture and you don't know it. Pippin, you know Dr. Robbie McClure, don't you?
Sure I do. A great surgeon. But what a waste, what a waste.
How do you mean?
Sure, he was a genius. Should have been a veterinarian. What else would I mean, Danny?
What else, of course. You know what time he left his office tonight?
I do. I have it right here in my book. Now, let me take a look. Oh, yes. Here it is. 8:40 in the p.m.
Was he alone?
No. He was in the company of the sleekest, prettiest, raciest-looking filliest in my pleasure since I cavorted in the mounted police.
Did you have her signature?
Oh, no. She was the doctor's patient. Or guest, or best bet for tomorrow. Night watchmen are discreet, Danny. Some ladies, they don't ask to sign out.
Well, ask him from now on, Pippin.
Huh?
I mean it. Have you got any idea where they went?
No, Danny, but they took a cab from that hack stand out there in front.
Did you see whose cab they took?
Yes, I did. I opened the door for them. They took Irv Newman's cab. If you want Irv, you'll probably find him at his home. I know those hackish critters, you know.
Well, thanks, Pivot. If you get a lump of sugar in the mail, it's from me.
What do you want? What? Hey, it's Danny.
Hi, Irv.
Hey, Rose, it's Danny. Danny Clover of New York's finest.
So he's going to help me wash the dishes already?
Pay no attention to Rose, Danny. She's moody tonight. Come on in.
Thanks, Irv.
Sit down, Danny. Sit down.
Irv,
Can I offer you something? A glass of tea, a cold beer? I got it. How about one of Rose's blintzes, huh? Hey, Rose.
Never mind, Irv. Don't bother Rose.
What's the bother? Even if she's moody, she can't rasp you up a blink.
Oh, I'm here on business, Irv. Some other time.
Oh, business? Hey, Rose.
Huh?
Come here.
Huh?
Shut off Caruso.
Huh?
Make quiet Caruso.
What's you, Caruso?
Caruso. Now we'll talk, Danny. What kind of business brings you down here to Orchard Street, the land of the knish and the bagel?
Pipit told me you drove Dr. McClure somewhere tonight, Irv. Where'd you drive him?
Park Avenue. Yeah, here's the address, Danny. I was just making out my records.
Thanks. Was he alone?
At first, no. Later, yes.
Translation?
First, he is with a doll. Lean over, Danny. Rose shouldn't hear. A Zostic-type doll. You know what I mean? Then he is without the doll, around 50 if she opens the door of the hack and slips out into the traffic. McClure tells me to keep going. I think they had an argument.
What about?
Danny, I'm the type to eavesdrop, especially when they shut that glass panel.
The address Irv Newman gave me was a study in millionaire respectability, Scrub Park Avenue, Brownstone. The butler took my hat and sighed and told me it was all right to go down the corridor into the living room if I tiptoed. I did. Then all of a sudden it hit me. The light from a couple hundred bulbs set in a crystal chandelier. And when I finally squinted through it, I couldn't quite believe it. It wasn't the size of the room. That was only about 100 yards long. It was the walls, from ceiling to floor and all the way. The walls were decked with murals. Mother Goose murals. Paintings of every fairy tale and nursery rhyme character in the book. And on the floor, smack dab between Marjorie Daw and her seesaw and Jack and his beanstalk, sat a man. He was wearing three things: a goatee, a full dress, and a beanie, 3 propeller type.
Well, hello there.
And hello to you.
My butler said your name was Danny Clover. But my butler lies. What is your name, sir?
Danny Clover.
You see what I mean? Grab a toy out of the toy box, sir, and sit down.
Mr. Fletcher.
Here. Take my latest product. Child psychologist claim it's remarkable for improving the coordination and tactile responses of a 4-year-old.
Really? Has it helped you?
Immeasurably. We place the ball in the cup, so.
Uh-huh.
Then we squeeze this lever, so.
Yep.
Then we catch the ball. Oops, we missed.
Oh, I guess we overestimated ourselves. Now, Mr. Fletcher...
Oh, call me Fletch. Don't stand on ceremony just because I'm the president.
Oh, does Margaret know?
Huh? Oh, no. I'm the president of the Fletcher Toy Company. I make toys for children, sir. I bring gay bits of sunshine into their otherwise drab little lives. And, as you see, I test my products before I market them. Incidentally, sir, what is your business?
Police.
Police? Police?
Stop your screaming. You'll wake up Snow White over there.
Sir, what right have you to be in my house?
Technically none, Mr. Fletcher, but there's a little matter of...
A matter of invasion of privacy. What do you want?
Was Dr. McClure here this evening? Dr. Robin McClure.
In a word, yes.
Why was he here?
I'm his patient. Is that a good medicinal reason?
Simply sterile. Are you a sick man, Mr. Fletcher? You don't look sick.
Dr. McClure says I'm a hypochondriac. But he gives me pills. I take them. They make me feel better. Ergo, I must have been sick before I took the pills.
One more thing, Mr. Fletcher. Who was with Dr. McClure?
I beg your pardon?
Or maybe she stayed in the cab that brought him here. Who was she, Mr. Fletcher?
Oh, that one. Yes. I peeked out the window and saw her waiting in the cab. Oh, beautiful, isn't she? Oh, striking. One of the most striking women I ever saw.
I blew at the top propeller in Fletcher's beanie, and then the butler came in and ushered me out in the downdraft. Lying must have been one of the little games they played in that $1 million house. Fletch said the butler lied. Then Fletcher lied about a girl he hadn't seen, a girl who was a question mark or an answer in the murder of Dr. Robbie McClure. If I was going to wind back McClure's life, I needed some sleep. All that got wound up were the sheets in my bed. And in the morning, I started it all over again in the good doctor's office.
You're early. The doctor hasn't come in yet. You'll have to wait.
Everything about her was anonymous. The white shoes, the white stockings, the starched white uniform, the starched white face, and the mouth, scarlet and thin, that she wore like a ribbon of merit.
For a new patient, fill out this card, please.
Not a patient, police. Lieutenant Danny Clover, Broadway Special Detail.
Oh. Did Dr. McClure ask you to come here?
You could say it that way. I'm here to investigate his death.
What? You mean something's happened to him?
He died in my office. He was murdered.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Oh, I'm sorry you had to be told like that, but we don't always have time to be gentle. You were his nurse, Miss?
Oh, yes. No. I had an agglutination test to make on some RH negative blood, Lieutenant. May I do that? While you investigate?
Go right ahead. Where do I find the doctor's patient record?
In that metal file box.
You've been with the doctor long, Miss Elliott?
3 years. Pardon me, Lieutenant, I need that slide.
It's the usual question. Did he have any enemies?
You knew him. What do you think, Lieutenant?
Doesn't matter what I think.
He was a fine man. Generous and kind. I'll need that microscope.
Oh, sorry. This is strange.
In the patient's file? What's strange, Lieutenant?
This card has a name and a date. All the other cards are filled with case histories. All this has is a name and a date. Dorothy Rivers, June 29th. Isn't that strange, Miss Elliott?
The files were the doctor's responsibility. He had his own way of keeping.
Then you don't know anything about a patient named Dorothy Rivers or this date?
Nothing, Lieutenant.
Now, take this with me.
You're the police. You do anything you like. I'll have to turn the lights out now, Lieutenant, for the test.
Go ahead, Miss Elliott. Go ahead. This will do for now. And thank you, Miss Elliott.
Goodbye, Lieutenant. Miss Rivers, Miss Dorothy Rivers, Dr. McClure's office. We advise a rest, a long rest in a quiet place.
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. If murder should suddenly explode in your face, you'd know how Casey, crime photographer, feels tonight in the drama titled Sellout. That's exactly what happens to Casey. A routine newspaper case suddenly erupts into a savage murder mystery which requires the sharpest thinking and fastest action of the crime photographer to solve. Crime Photographer is yours for the listening every Thursday evening, as is the other thriller, Escape. Tonight, Escape brings you Langen versus the Ant, a top story of harrowing adventure on a top program. Remember Escape and Crime Photographer tonight over most of these same CBS stations. Now, back to Broadway's My Beat.
There's this thing about Broadway. It can tickle you under the chin and make clucking noises, or it can slap you hard across the mouth and laugh. Either way, you get hurt. Right now, the receiving end of the slap was the police department for various and sundry unsolved murders. And the laugh, the big laugh, the cold laugh was that a man named Dr. Robbie McClure had come to my office to die, and I didn't know who'd killed him. I sat at my desk at headquarters tearing the tabloids into a noose of paper dolls when Sergeant Tartaglia opened the door and with a fine Italian flourish lay a thick paper-bound file in front of me.
For you, my lieutenant.
Your memoir, Sergeant? What is it?
Not only what you asked for, a file on one of our more recent unsolved murders.
Get it out of here. Get it out of my sight.
Huh? Hey, Danny, you sick or something?
Oh, all right. All right, leave it.
I also have here in my pocket the dope you wanted on Dr. Robbie McClure. Here, read it.
Pocket policeman. I'm sick of reading.
There are some interesting items, Danny, about the good doctor. Item. Friends, numerous and friendly, all with alibis. Item. Relatives, none. The doctor was a lonesome man.
Are your wife and kids, Tartaglia?
Oh, great, Danny, just great. Hey, you should see the latest, little Christina.
I bet she's a doll. Go on with the items.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Item. And this is the one I think will interest you, Danny. On June 30th, Dr. Robbie McClure made a deposit in the Corn Exchange Bank in Bronxville. 10,000 crisp, cool, clean dollars.
June 30th, huh? Now you can talk to me about the recent unsolved murder.
As follows. A man named Martin James was murdered in his Sutton Place penthouse apartment at a party, night of June 29th.
Yeah?
He was asked to step outside, and he was murdered. Martin had a gun. He fired one shot. The bullet from Martin James' gun was never found. We figured it took off across First Avenue.
Tartaglia, there's a doctor's patient card over on the table over there. Tell me what it says on it.
Sure, Danny, sure. Says Dorothy Rivers, June 29th.
See a name like that on the James guest list?
Now, wait a minute, Danny. Yeah, here it is, Dorothy Rivers, in the alphabetical list with a lot of other girls.
Is your address there?
Well, all the girls have the same address.
What? Say that again.
They all have the same address. The Tony Seville Model Agency.
Tartaglia, here's a fin. Buy your doll Christina a doll or something.
Oh, thanks, Danny, thanks. But there's something I think you should know.
About Christina?
About Dorothy Rivers. The records say she never showed up at that party. She was never there at all.
Tony Seville paid rent for his model agency in the Empire State Building. For this, he received the privilege of maintaining a 10-room suite on the 40th floor and decorating it with orchids and genuine neutrils. The other decorations were too numerous to mention, delicate shadings of blonde and brunette. When they crossed their legs, the silk whispered. I started to whisper back, but a scented haze with magenta fingertips beckoned me into an inner office. She closed the door behind her, and all I was left with was a pork barrel and a double-breasted pinstripe named Tony Seville.
My secretary whispered you are a policeman. How have I trespassed? I parked my car incorrectly, perhaps. I forgot to curb my dog.
Let's stop rubbing noses, huh?
I beg your pardon.
Let's put it this way, simple and blunt. There's some questions I want you to answer for me.
You must have a dull profession, asking questions. Very well. Ask a question.
Mr. Seville, your agency supplied a half-dozen models to a party at the home of Martin James. Said party a little over a month ago, June 29th. Said home a penthouse on Sutton Place, right?
Possibly right. However, don't underline your details with a sneer. My agency furnishes models as decorative baubles to any social function.
One of your decorations on the evening I'm interested in was named Dorothy Rivers. How do I get in touch with her?
You're a detective? Detective.
What's her address, Seville?
May I suggest a dragnet detective? Or any of the numerous machinations you police are oh so adept at?
Her address, Seville. Where do I find her?
You should be told. We only give a model's address to an approved client. I don't approve of you.
Look, kid, sometimes I can forget I'm a cop. I can forget right now.
I think you mean it.
Yeah, try being cozy for one more second.
I don't know where Dorothy Rivers is. I haven't seen her for a month.
You can do better than that.
The day after the party, she phoned. She said she was going on a vacation.
You're doing fine, Seville. Keep it up.
There's nothing more. I tried to get in touch with her several times since. She checked out of the hotel. She left no forwarding address.
You're telling the truth, aren't you, Seville?
The truth is this, as far as I know and care. Dorothy Rivers could be dead.
Beginning at the 40th floor, I picked petals off a tired daisy. At the 38th, Dorothy Rivers was dead. 37th, she wasn't dead. 36th, dead. 35, not dead. I don't remember how it came out, because when I got off at the ground floor and walked into the yellow heat of 34th Street, a character stopped me by tapping me lightly on the leg with the front bumper of his cab. The character was the character named Irv Newman.
Don't look so scared, Danny. Brakes I got. I could stop this cab on a thin latke.
Latke schmatke, so long as I got my health.
You're charming, Danny. Absolutely charming. Hey, told me at headquarters I'd find you around here. I got something for you.
One of Rose's blintzes?
Maybe better than that yet. You know the girl he was asking me about? The one I picked up with Dr. McClure, the professional man?
What about her?
I spotted her for you, Danny.
Where? Tell me where.
So let me tell you. Happens I got a friend, Danny, a truck driver. He's a peach of a fella. His name is Clem. Every morning gives me a push with the truck so I can start this lousy hack.
Where did you spot the girl there?
So I'm telling you. While Clem is pushing me with his truck and I'm gliding along in my hack like in a gondola, I see this girl coming out of building.
What building?
6 West 23rd Street. So I turn around, I wave to Clem. He should stop already. Yeah? Danny! Danny, didn't let me finish!
Yes, who is it?
Miss Rivers?
Who are you?
I want to talk to you, Miss Rivers.
By what right? I don't know you. Get away from here. Get away.
Go inside, Miss Rivers.
Who are you? What do you want?
I'm Danny Clover. I'm a police detective, Miss Rivers. Been through a lot to get to you. You'd get along a lot better if you'd have settled down.
Why do you want to see me?
I've read somewhere that grief can make a woman even more lovely. You look like you've been grieving.
Don't be clever with me. I'm sick of clever men.
Maybe I can help you.
You, a policeman.
Me, a policeman.
It's all over now, isn't it, Mr. Clover?
Just about.
You want to know what happened at Martin James' party, isn't that it?
The guest list said you were invited, but you weren't checked off. That mean you weren't there?
I was there. Through the back entrance, Mr. Clover, because he said that was the way it should be done.
Who? What should have been done that way?
Look, Mr. Clover, I'll tell you what happened. I owe it to myself to tell you what happened. I'm tired of pain.
That's it, huh? Blackmail.
Let me tell you from the beginning what happened. Perhaps you'll even believe me.
You'd be surprised, Miss Rivers. Policemen can believe the truth.
Martin James was a man who made investments in all sorts of deals, a kind of silent partner. One of the partners was a man named Fletcher.
Man with a goatee?
He manufactured toys, Mr. Clover. I went to the party with him. Mr. Clover!
What's the matter?
Mr. Clover! The window!
He's gone. Who was it? Who dared you see? Oh, maybe you should have told me his name, Miss Rivers. Now you don't owe anybody anything.
Even as a coroner, I say it's a shame, Danny. Such a beautiful girl. Shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. What I've been waiting for is your report.
Yeah, Dorothy Rivers. Age about 24. Bullet ended left sternum, pierced pericardium. That's the heart, Danny. Dead on arrival.
That all?
This girl was shot once before. She's got a healing wound that, well, it looks mighty like a bullet wound. It's right here, Danny.
Yeah, that makes it all add up. That makes it add up just fine, Corner. Neat. Real neat. Oh, Fletcher? This is a friend, Fletcher. The payoff goes on just the same. Tonight, kid, 9 o'clock. So long, Fletcher. It took me 10 minutes to get to the Park Avenue Palace that Fletcher had built out of psychological toys for kids. Across the street, I took a plant behind a fat, uniformed doorman who kept looking at me out of the corner of his fat eyes as if he were terribly sorry a thing like me had ever happened under his gilt-fringed canopy. At 8:30, the lights in Fletcher's crystal chandelier began to go out in sections. In 5 minutes, he was on the street, hailing a cab. I tossed a nickel to my fat doorman, hailed a cab of my own, and tailed Fletcher to an office building I'd been in once before. I watched him slip Pip at a bill and then walk down the corridor to a self-service elevator. I thought it would be nice if he had company on his lonesome ride. He didn't.
Police! Why am I constantly surrounded by police?
Maybe because you bring sunshine into my drab life, Fletcher. You know how to work this thing?
Well, of course. It's nothing but a toy.
Allow me anyway. It's the fourth floor you want, isn't it?
Well, no, not at all.
Humor me, Fletcher. Let's make it 4. Right down this hall. 438, Dr. McClure's office. That's where you want to go, isn't it, Mr. Fletcher?
There are obviously some titillating gyrations going on in that mechanical policeman's brain of yours. You will reveal them to me, please?
I was waiting for you to ask me that in just that way. Here we are. After you, Fletcher.
Oh, thank you.
Now I reveal the payoff money, Fletcher. Give it to me.
Ah, of course. I see. see. I thought it was curious that I should have to keep paying blackmail to a dead man. Dr. McClure is dead, isn't he?
The money, Mr. Fletcher. It's hard for me to say please.
Well, here you are. $1,000. You want it weekly, I presume, just as I paid it before?
That's cheap, isn't it, Fletcher, to buy off the electric chair? That's quite a toy, too, I hear.
Yes, quite. Then you know, of course, that Dorothy Rivers and I murdered Martin James.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he deserved it, you know. He swindled me out of a good deal of money.
What was Dorothy Rivers to you?
Oh, no. You're talking like a policeman again. Dorothy Rivers was a toy, expensive and fragile. It made her all the more desirable. That and the fact that I could make her do anything I liked.
Did you bring her back to life?
What?
Hey.
No, don't get upset with me. As long as I was eavesdropping, it makes me less of a lady.
That gun's not becoming either, Nurse Elliott.
Put it away, my dear. Toys like that make me nervous.
I prefer this pose. Now, what were you saying, Lieutenant?
Now that you're here, I've got even more to say.
As a nurse, I'm a humanitarian, Lieutenant. You've got a minute more saying time.
A man should never lie under the circumstances, huh? And if I told you this, if I told you that you were the blackmailer instead of Dr. McClure, what would you say?
I'd say you were telling the truth.
What? Then I've been paying all that money to this...
Temper, Mr.
Well,
Fletcher.
Dr. McClure took the initial $10,000, all right, but the nurse here kept right on blackmailing you and Miss Rivers in the doctor's name. McClure found out, so he had to die.
All through, Lieutenant.
Not quite, nurse. After the blackmail, you had to kill Miss Rivers because she was about to talk to me.
Now, Lieutenant?
One more thing. If you kill me, the payoff stops. Consider it, Miss Elliott. I got $1,000 in my pocket. Half yours, half mine. It could go on and on. We could still make Fletcher pay. Think about it, Miss Elliott.
Put the money on the table, Lieutenant. Half yours, half mine.
All right. On the table.
Thanks. I'll take mine. Now.
Yeah, now, Nurse Elliott.
I'll tell you!
Put your arm, Nurse. Drop it, drop the gun. Yeah, thanks.
I'll lift it up for you, Lieutenant. I'll get the gun.
Lift this, Fletcher. Got any smelling salts for Fletcher, Nurse? It took 3 police officers to carry Nurse Elliott away. She tore out their faces and screamed in a language she hadn't picked up in medical books. Fletcher? He was different. He settled himself in the Black Maria, pulled out a solid gold yo-yo, and played with it all the way down to headquarters. Broadway's happy now. It's got on the carnival clothes it wears every night, and the Midway boils its roustabouts and yokels and hurdy-gurdy sounds. It's a jack-in-the-box, and it's a clown. It's a shining girl on horseback, or it's a geek with no arms, no legs, and no heart. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. America can be proud. America is proud of the young men of our armed forces. Painstakingly trained as specialists in many fields, these servicemen will be the leaders in tomorrow's civilian life. Educational advantages open to today's servicemen are unparalleled if you can qualify. Look into the volunteer enlistment program now. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway. It's a journey some people have to make. A journey that ends in a screaming, blinding furnace of light, or ends in darkness, cool and still. You walk it with a quick puppet strut of slapstick, or you walk it slow. Slow like the last walk you'll ever take. Whatever way it is, it's my beat. Broadway is full of people that are like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. One of them, if you put them together right, will turn out to be Jed Stacy, scandal reporter for a rag that reports scandals. If it's a hot August evening and he's wearing his Hollywood shirt and yellow silk mohair pants, $90 the outfit, he'll buy you a free meal for a price.
Jacques, bring us prosciutto with melon, vichyssoise, shrimp poulette, and a decent white wine. You got that?
Oui, Monsieur Stacy.
Yeah.
Okay, Jed, why the banquet?
You know me, don't you, Danny? I don't give nothing for nothing. I don't get nothing for nothing.
Yeah, that's life, like Jacques says.
Yeah. Look, Danny, I got a note in the mail today, a typewritten note. I want to read it to you.
Something you wrote?
No, this has class. Here's what it says. Dear columnist, if you need a prophecy, here's a prophecy. A girl, Jane Darnell, will be found murdered tonight. That's a prophecy. I was just checking, Danny. You got a corpse named Jane Darnell?
No. Give me that note. Give it to me.
Sure. Here, Danny, I'm through with it. It'll be in my column tomorrow anyway. It's all set up.
Why didn't you give me this before?
You know us scribes, Danny. We clutch things to our bosom. Besides, what good would it do you? If Jane Darnell is going to be killed, how would you stop it?
You'd play nursemaid to a murder for a beat, wouldn't you, Jed? You're getting too large, kid. Too large.
Take it easy, Danny. First, you got to find the little lady. It's a tough thing to do. Even for a guy like you, it's a tough thing.
There's a telephone call for you, Monsieur Stacy.
No, thanks, Jack. Plug it in here, will you?
Oui, monsieur.
Excuse me, Danny. Yeah? Yeah, this is Stacy. Where? Okay. Yeah, you get a fin. Yeah, the same to you. Come on, Danny.
We going someplace?
Yeah, to the room of a Jane Darwell. She's asleep in it, Danny. Dead asleep. Just like I prophesy in tomorrow's column.
In here, Lieutenant. Right over there on the bed.
Yeah, Sergeant, I see. Strangled, huh? With a silk stocking.
I'm not a guy who knows about a thing like this, Danny, but it looks like the murder weapon is a pretty inferior piece of merchandise. Buck 98 will get you 3 pairs.
Take your hands off that stocking, Jed.
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure, Danny. Police methods. I should have known better.
Okay, Sergeant, give me the rundown.
Call from the landlady at 8:10 p.m.
Yeah?
Landlady's story as follows. She returned here at 5 after 8, and then she...
Where'd she return from?
Corner bar. She spent the afternoon there singing Ghost Riders in the Sky and nursing a 10-cent beer for 6 hours. And they threw her out at 8 sharp. And we checked.
Go on.
Well, the landlady knocked at the door of Jane Darnell, the deceased. Upon receiving no answer, she walked in and found the deceased thus. Like so.
Okay. Where's the landlady now?
I peeked across the hall when we came in, Danny.
Yeah?
There's a little old lady sitting in a rocker with a compress on a little wrinkled forehead and a little wrinkled nose on top of a big bottle. Landlady, huh?
Yeah.
Right in here, lady. Come on, right in this room.
Take your hands off of me. I've been walking a long time without your help.
Who's this, officer?
A man who says he lives here. A man who
My
says his name
name's Mac Taylor. What's going on here?
Okay, officer, that's all. What's your business here, Mr. Taylor?
I live here. Now answer a question for me. What's this all about?
Did you know Jane Darnell?
Oh, my Shirley. She takes 2 hours every Saturday night in the bathroom. And she is the... Oh, that's her over on the bed. What's the matter with her?
She's dead. Murdered.
Murdered? Well, who did it?
Mr. Taylor, there's millions of people in New York. A little while ago, one of those millions of people came into this room and wrapped a silk stocking around Jane Darnell's neck. The person who did that was the person who murdered her. Do you know who it was, Mr. Taylor? Mr. Taylor didn't. She was just the other renter in the boarding house as far as he was concerned. She never even smiled at him, he said. Man, you'd have to be mighty strange to kill a girl for that, he assured me. I assured him he'd better stick around. And then I went home and had indigestion all night from the meal Judge Stacy ordered that I never ate. The next morning, I spent the first 2 hours mulling over what I had in the murder of Jane Darnell. It came to 2 things. All I had was a girl in the morgue and a typewritten note saying she'd be there. Or, as Sergeant Tartaglia put it...
All we got, Danny, is a girl in the morgue and a typewritten note saying she'd be there.
Tartaglia, would you mind repeating that?
Oh, sure, Danny. I said all we got is
Never mind. Anything on that typewritten note Judge Stacy gave me? Kind of typewriter, stationery?
Oh, typed on a Corona Portable. A new model. Cheap grade of stationery. For 5 and 10 cent store stuff.
Routine check turn-up anything?
Not yet. I can't find a thing on this Jane Darnell. No friends, no relatives, nothing, Danny. Well, looks like this will be a tough one for us to crack.
It'll take time, Tartaglia, but it'll crack. Danny Clover speaking. What? Who is this? Tartaglia, trace this call.
Yeah.
Who is this speaking? I can't hear you. Speak louder, huh? Yeah, I got that. When? Who is this speaking? Hello? Hello? What? Oh, look, operator, I was talking to someone when we were cut off. I see. Well, thank you, operator. Tartaglia!
Calm and efficient service.
You traced the call?
Oh, sure.
Well, what?
You traced it to a phone booth in Grand Central Station.
Oh, fine.
That call was important?
Tartaglia, I was just speaking to a murderer.
Yeah? Well, what did he have to say? A murderer?
Yeah, a murderer who was disguising his voice. He had to say just this. He had to say he did quite a job on Jane Darnell, and tonight he was going to do a better one on a friend of hers. A friend named Mary Smith.
Mary Smith? Hey, I know a Mary Smith. Which Mary Smith, Danny? Which Mary Smith?
Tartaglia was right. In a city of 8 million, what chance do you have of finding a Mary Smith? If it's the Mary Smith who's going to be struck down by a murderer, the odds are precisely 1 in 8 million. You come up with Mary Smiths, all right. You trace one of them to Sing Sing, where she was doing 20 years for dynamiting a bank. Another Mary Smith left her husband's bed and board in Poughkeepsie. And you talk to a Mary Smith who says,
Mister, my name's Mary Smith, and I know a secret. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great heart.
So you try again.
Forgive me, sir, for have kept you waiting. It wasn't my hour for meditation.
Are you Mary Smith?
Yes, of course I am Mary Smith. In China, my name is Lesu. But since I am in America, I have adopted a name that is 100% American. Mary Smith.
And do you know a Jane Darnell?
No, I am sure I do not. Jane Darnell. Oh, Americans have such a strange name.
Yeah.
Danny! Hey, Danny, hop in. I want to take you someplace where maybe you ought to be.
Move your hearse out of the way, Jed. I might scrape the polish with my shabby squad car.
Oh, now, Danny, you don't like me anymore. That hurt.
I like you. Now, will you move your car?
They told me at headquarters you'd be here. Now, look, if you check with me, I could have saved you wear and tear, Danny.
I'll make a note. Always check with Judge Stacy. He'll save you wear and tear. Or maybe I can buy it tomorrow for a nickel.
You're fighting me, boy. You're fighting me.
Get out of my way. You got nothing to say to me. Nothing I want to hear.
You'll want to hear this, Danny. The Mary Smith you're looking for, I know where she is.
Where?
Well, if we're still friends, I'll tell you where.
Cut it down to a number in a street.
10 West 16, Danny. A sordid walk-up, a scabrous...
How do you know so much, paper boy?
Anonymous phone call, Danny. Anonymous voice. Voice gives me address and particulars. Particulars? Anonymous girl named Mary Smith. Now we're friends again, huh, Danny? Huh?
Miss Smith. Miss Smith. Open up, Miss Smith. It's the police. Maybe you should open it yourself, Clover. Yeah. Miss Smith. The girl named Mary Smith was home. She wasn't anonymous anymore. The scrawl of blood on her clean cotton dress gave her an identity. And the ice pick thrust deep into her throat was like an ugly pin that held her in one place in one time. And death hadn't yet washed away the torture and the strain and the horror that was frozen in the carved lines of her body. The draft from the door I had crashed open moved her hair in gentle whirls away from her face. Then I saw her hand holding something tight, like a claw. It held onto it tight. It was a typewritten note. It said, "What girl next, police? What girl next? I give you a riddle. There were 2 that will be 3. Who will it be? Who will it be?"
You
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Those two outstanding adventure shows, Escape and Crime Photographer, will bring you new thrills, new chills, just a little later tonight. Casey, crime photographer, will encounter a wealthy stamp collector, his two sons, and a strange murder in Death of a Stranger. Escape will present another Thursday thriller in Red Wine by Lawrence Blockman. This Thursday, every Thursday, hear Escape and Crime Photographer on most of these same CBS network stations. Now back to Broadway's My Beat.
Broadway all depends on the mood you're in. You can be part of the mob and perform for the sightseers, or you can write notes about murdering women and go about your business of murdering. In the latter case, Broadway dangles from strings. Broadway performs for a madman. It puts on a mask of horror and talks in whispers. Two people had died violently, and the clues I had for their dying were about as valuable as a pinch of dust. Correction, I had a thing of value. Another note. What girl next, the note said. It would be valuable if I knew what girl next. The only ray of sunshine at headquarters next morning was a police sergeant named Tartaglia, who did all sorts of remarkable things with details and file cards and pencil sharpeners.
Morning, Danny. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yeah, what have we got, Tartaglia?
Well, I checked Judge Stacy, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good alibi. He was with you at the approximate time of both murders.
Only approximate. How long does it take to kill a person? Hey, what did you find on that boarder, Mac Taylor?
Oh, he's got an answer for every question we ask him. Right now, we're still checking the answers. So far, Mac Taylor's been telling the truth.
Okay. What's in that envelope?
Oh, in this envelope, Danny, intelligence from the FBI.
Well, with Los Angeles still operating, it's a wonder they had the time. Let's see it.
Yeah, sure, here. You know, on account of we didn't have any data on Jane Darnell and Mary Smith, I wired their prints down to Washington like
you should have.
Yeah. This data you're holding was wired back. Hey, those boys in Washington sure work.
Hey, look at this, Tartaglia.
Huh?
A link. A link between Jane Darnell and Mary Smith. Washington had their prints because they worked in a war plant.
That tells you something, Danny?
Maybe. Maybe a lot. They both worked for the same outfit, the Westfold Tool Company, a manufacturing firm across the river in Jersey. Get my hip boots, Tartaglia. I'm going to take a boat ride.
You want to see me?
You're the foreman?
Yeah.
Can't we go somewhere where we can talk?
What?
I said, can't we
Let's go somewhere where we can talk, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you want to see me about, mister?
I'm Danny Clover, New York Police Department.
Oh, glad to know you. I'm Freddie Ney, Punch Press Department.
You've been working in this department long, Mr. Ney?
Oh, 10 years. Why?
Try this in your memory. Jane Darnell and Mary Smith. What does that do to you?
Jane Darnell, Mary Smith, Oh, yeah, it does something to me, all right. Yeah, they worked here side by side in my department, right through the war and after we converted automobile parts.
And what else?
Well, they quit about a year ago, within a week of each other.
Within a week of each other, huh? How would that figure, Mr. Ney?
Well, they were chummy. Jane Darnell and Mary Smith were in a carpool with another girl. All three of them rode to work in Jane's car.
This other girl, who was she?
I don't know. She wasn't in my department.
Does your personnel department keep records of people who ride together in carpools?
No, never did. We got all the paperwork we can handle.
Yeah. Where's the phone?
Right over there.
Thanks. Can I get an outside line on this?
Sure. I guess that's about all I can tell you about those two, Mr. Clover.
Well, maybe it was enough. Hello? Motor vehicles? Give me registration.
Anything else, Mr. Clover?
No, that'll be all. Registration? This is Danny Clover. Want the make and the model of a car owned by Jane Darnell. Yeah, motor number 2.
You sure there's nothing else, Mr. Clover? I enjoy aiding and abetting the police.
I said that's all. You can go now. Yeah? DeSoto sedan, 1947. Motor number 137596. Yeah, I got it. Thanks. Get the operator to connect me with Sergeant Tartaglia at headquarters.
Hurry.
Tartaglia, Danny Clover, a detail, Tartaglia. A rush job. Fast enough maybe to save a girl's life. Now get this. A DeSoto sedan, 1947. Motor number 137596. Registered in the name of Jane Darnell. Find it, Tartaglia. Find it fast. Now all there was to wait. Wait while the life of a girl ticked away. A nameless girl in a nameless place. And the girl without the name watched as you waited, her face veiled in the gauze of terror, and her eyes piercing the veil with hatred because all you could do was wait. There were two that will be free, the note said. And 3 is a number that can add up to death. And a motor has a number that can add up to... And then suddenly the waiting was over. They traced the number. Traced it to a litter of junk-strewn yards presided over by a frightened little man wearing a beret.
I do not know why suddenly I am a matter for the police. I have done everything as it was told me to.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it, Mr.
Stern, David Stern.
Yeah.
They tell me here in America that there is dignity in dealing with junk, so I deal in it. But with the police, dignity becomes sour.
It'll sweeten up, Mr. Stern. Give us a chance.
Oh, I did not mean that. I mean, what I mean is not insult, only an analysis, a philosophical diagnosis.
It's too deep for me, Mr. Stern. Some other time. Where's the car?
You mean the one that the policeman in the uniform checked its number and its internal anatomy?
I mean the one... Yeah, that's the one I mean. Internal anatomy?
It's right here to your left. You see?
That heap of junk?
The police are interested perhaps in buying some used parts. The hubcaps are still nice and the carburetor...
When was this brought in, Mr. Stern?
Oh, just about a year ago. I remember because, you see, I remember the personality of machines. Now, this one is the victim of complete nervous shock.
It looks like it was in a wreck, a bad wreck.
Exactly. That's what brought on this psychosis. But in good hands, with good treatment, this could recover. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mr. Stern. Thanks. Maybe I ought to start going to night school.
You said something?
Danny, welcome to Police Transcript and Record. Your presence is like a shaft of light in a warehouse of darkness.
Coswell, will you do something for me and not have it come out an epic?
This will take much doing. What's your pleasure, Danny?
Open a window. How do you guys breathe in here?
Sergeant down?
Yes, Coswell.
Open a window. Danny can't breathe. That was thrilling how you did that, Sergeant Downs. You may now go back to your typewriter. Anything else, Danny? I could fan you with this fan, courtesy Huxley's mortuary.
Oh, thanks. A little closer, Coslow. Fine. Now get me everything you've got on an automobile accident. This car, about a year ago.
Sergeant Downs?
You get it, Coslow. I'll hold the fan.
Your command is like a caress, Danny. Never mind, Downs. I shall get it. Oh, by the way, Danny, there's a gentleman sitting over there, been waiting for you. Gentleman by the name of Jed Stacy. Shall I present you?
Get the dope on the accident now, as in right now.
Yes, sir, Lieutenant, sir.
What do you want, Jed?
Oh, it's not what I want, Danny. It's what my syndicate wants. You know, columnists, no life of their own.
That why you're always around when people die, so you can gloat?
I didn't hear you say that, Danny. I'll make like I didn't hear it. Now, Danny, my syndicate is curious whether you found out who the number 3 girl's going to be.
I bleed for you and your syndicate. You told me about the other two, Jed. How come you don't have a private line on this one?
Danny, I got it all by myself.
Brief it for me, Coslow. Just the words, without the hand.
How else? Accident involving this car, May 10th, 1948. Crashed into by Mrs. Mildred Quimby. Mrs. Quimby was killed.
Who was in the DeSoto when it happened?
3 girls, Jane Darnell, Mary Smith, and Sally Webb.
You got an address on this Sally Webb?
Most assuredly. 417th West 55th. We also got pictures of the whole mess. You may have them if you want them, Danny, without signing.
Take back your fan, Coslow. You earned it.
Sally Webb, eh? That's the girl my syndicate wants.
Do they now? Print this, Jed. Print it and I'll tear you apart. So long, Jed.
I don't believe you, Mr. Clover. I don't believe you. Why should anyone want to murder me?
We're dealing with a madman, Miss Webb. A madman who makes his own reasons.
But Why me? I never hurt anyone or anything in my life.
Maybe Jane Darnell and Mary Smith were like that, but they were killed.
I hardly knew them. I just rode with them to work. We had nothing in common outside of that.
You had this in common, Miss Webb. You were in an accident in which a woman was killed.
So she was killed. Can you rise from the dead to murder me for that?
Someone who loved her very much might want to kill you because he holds all of you responsible for her death.
Well, then why don't you catch him, put him in a cage, rip him into shreds, and, well, do something. Something.
Miss Webb, that picture on your bureau. Who is it?
My boyfriend. Why?
How long have you known him?
Oh, a few months.
You expecting someone?
No.
Let him in. Let them in, Sally.
Hi, Sally. I found this envelope addressed to you in your mailbox. I brought it up. Is it all right?
Give it to me, little girl.
Huh?
Oh, give it to him, Mary, and you better go now.
All right, Sally.
Sorry I haven't time to be polite, Sally. Mind if I see what's in the envelope? Thanks. Here. Read it, Sally.
And the third is Sally Webb. At 8 o'clock tonight, it's Sally Webb. Spin, Sally, spin till 8 o'clock. Then it's done.
The same cheap paper, the same type, the same pattern. Now do you believe it, Sally?
Oh, yes. Yes, help me, Mr. Clover. Please help me.
If you'll help me.
How? Just tell me how.
Sally, I want you to spend the rest of the day as you would spend any other day. One of our men will be with you all the time. You'll never see him. You're not to look for him. But I want you back here before 8 o'clock, understand? Before 8 o'clock.
Oh, I'm frightened, Mr. Clover. I'm frightened.
The only way, Sally. You wanted him in a cage? That's where you'll be, just like you said. In a cage. So the trap was set. Sally Webb, the bait. New York Police Department, the hunter. The hunted? Somebody in that jungle city. Somebody crouching now in a dark corner until another time of killing. The man I had tail Sally Webb called in every half hour from a dress shop, a fruit store, from a laundromat, places like that. Then about 7 o'clock, the trap began to shape itself. A police cordon thrown around the block on West 55th Street where Sally lived. And a few minutes before 8, I was standing in a doorway next to the address, and the trap was ready to be sprung.
How about those, Lieutenant?
How about north and south of 55th Street? They covered?
Yes, sir. No one gets through on 8th and 9th.
Except the girl. Except the girl, Sergeant, and whoever might be following her.
How about our boy, the one you assigned to Taylor?
He's got orders to drop out at the corner of 9th and 55th. Now get this, Sergeant. I want your men in uniform to stay out of sight. Plain clothes, as inconspicuous as possible. No noise.
Yes, sir. That's what I told the man.
Who's that? What chowderhead was stupid enough to use his siren?
That's probably the Patrolman Florio, sir. He's siren happy.
Well, I hope he's going to be happy pounding the cement and flushing.
Hey, Lieutenant. That girl who just came out of the subway entrance.
That's her. Sally Webb.
Time's just about 8. She's walking awful slow.
She's scared. Scared.
She's inside. See? The lights just went on.
Let's go, Sergeant. Miss Webb, it's Danny Clover. Danny Clover.
Lieutenant.
Yeah, she's dead. She's dead, Sergeant. Close your eyes and try real hard to believe it. She's dead.
But I don't understand.
How could the coroner will call it a long, sharp weapon? The coroner's jury can blame me for it.
What are you talking about, Lieutenant?
The subway. The one place I forgot about. The one place where she'd be with 1,000 people and still be alone. She was stabbed on the subway. She had just enough strength to get inside her door. What are you doing, Sergeant?
Oh, this stuff must have spilled out of her purse when she keeled over. It's just junk, though. Lipstick, cigarettes.
What's that? The piece of paper you're holding?
Nothing, I guess. Just a piece of paper. Oh, wait. Something's typed on it.
Huh? Read it.
Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of his country. I love you, I love you, I love you.
Let's see that.
The letterhead says Ridley's Department Store. Furnishings for your every need.
Get me a squad car, Sergeant. I got a feeling Ridley's is going to furnish my every need.
Interested in a typewriter, mister?
Oh, I didn't know you worked here, Mac. Mac Taylor, isn't it? The indignant boarder who lived across the hall from Jane Darnell?
Yes, this is my place of business. The typewriter department.
Yeah.
I've got a time card, employee's number, everything. I sell them. You want to buy one?
Some other time. Which Corona did you type those murder notes on?
Huh? Hey, what do you mean?
Sally Webb really loved you, didn't she, Mac? I got proof positive of that. She put your picture on her bureau, and she hung around here and wrote love notes on your demonstrator typewriter.
So?
Tell me something, Mac. Why did you change your name from Quimby to Taylor?
We've got a doctor in this department store, Clover. Maybe you need to see him.
I have a picture of Mildred Quimby, my wife.
What do you know about Mildred Quimby?
I said I have her picture, Mac. Here, when she was killed in an automobile accident. Look at it, Mac. Go on, look at it.
I'll kill you. Like they killed my wife. Like I killed all of them. I'll kill you.
Mac, put away that gun. This place is filled with people.
What do I care about people? My wife is dead.
Watch out. Hey, that man's got a gun.
You must be crazy.
Down, everybody. Get out of the way. That man's a killer.
Come on, get me, Clover.
Yeah. There's only one way to get you, Mac. Clover, you can't miss. A madman lying in the blood of his death isn't much different from any man who dies in violence. There was a kind of furious serenity on the face of Mac Taylor, or Quimby, as though all at the same time he rejected and embraced the peace that a tearing bullet had offered his brain. They took him away. Then someone swirled a mop over the blood-stained tile of the floor. And that was the requiem for a madman. Broadway is a street of sounds. The hissing sound of the neon, the sweet sound of a girl's laugh, the harsh, rasping sound of the light deep inside the earth, and the other sound, the sigh, the painful sigh no one hears. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. The launching of a promising career as a singer, a bunch of yellow roses from an admirer, a single sniff of their aroma, and sudden death. These are the events that launch Mr. Keene, himself a promising career man, as sleuth in one of his most fascinating cases tonight. Mr. Keene's latest adventure, the Yellow Rose murder case, follows immediately over most of these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast was the brainchild of Jack Webb and may very well be the most well-remembered and best radio police drama series of all time. It ran from September in 1949 through February 1957 in 30-minute shows broadcast on NBC, and it brought to radio true police stories in a low-key documentary style. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet. Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files, from beginning to end, from crime to punishment. This is the story of your police force in action. Dragnet.
It was Tuesday, March 25th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. Detectives in Los Angeles work in pairs. My partner's Ben Romero. He's a sergeant, so am I. My name's Friday. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 13 minutes past 11 when I got to room 42. Homicide.
That's a hot shot. Somebody grab it.
I got it, Ed.
At 1245 East Doheny Street,
1, 2, 4,
2 officers shot. At 1245 East Doheny
Doheny
Street,
Street.
2 officers
shot.
What have you got, Friday?
Read it.
2 officers shot. Where's Romero?
Right here, Skipper.
Okay, you've got one to roll on. Get going.
Both Ben and I knew where we were heading. We'd recognized the address. It was the Trapdoor Cafe, a joint in the south end of town that did business with a pretty rough crowd. 13 minutes later, we pulled up in front. 2 patrolmen had the crowd pretty well pushed back. There was a cruiser car in front of the cafe. The car door was open, and an officer was sprawled across the seat. He was conscious but weak, and one of his pant legs was pretty red.
Hello, Sarge.
Hi, how you doing?
I've done better.
Yeah, well, what happened?
Williams and I were cruising. We've been keeping an eye on this cafe lately. Tonight we decided to take a look. And just as we went in, 2 guys left in a hurry, the back door. We followed them out into the alley. It was dark out there, and I called to them. I said, "Hey, fellas, just a minute, I want to talk to you."
They stopped?
I'll say. One of them whirled. He had a gun in his left hand. He shot both of us.
Left hand, huh?
Williams went down and out. I went down, but I took a shot at them. No effect. Then I started crawling out here to the car so I could call in.
You started crawling?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Emerson. Weren't there any people around by that time?
Oh, yeah, quite a few ran out after the shots.
You mean nobody would help you to the car?
That's right.
Did you get a good look at either of the gunmen?
Well, one of them was tall. I think he was a redhead. There was something funny about his nose. That's all I saw. It's too dark out there. Williams was closer. I think he got a good look.
Joe, the other officer, Williams. He's in pretty bad shape.
Is he breathing?
He's still alive, Emerson. I don't know how much time he's got.
Ambulance?
On the way.
Okay, let's round up all the men who are in the cafe. We're taking them in. We took all the men back to the city hall. There were 23 in the Trapdoor Cafe at the time of the shooting. We questioned all of them. One of them said there had been a redhead in the place, but he couldn't describe him. Ben and I left the interrogation room, and we went back to the squad room.
Friday, Romero. Got a minute?
Yeah, Ed. Come on, Ben.
Sit down.
Okay.
Did you get anything from those people you questioned?
Nothing we could use.
How's Williams?
It's pretty bad.
When do they operate?
As soon as he comes out of shock. Probably in the morning.
You boys will be there.
Yeah, we will.
When the surgeon digs that slug out, get it and mark it for evidence.
Yeah. Skipper, them 2 men shot without asking any questions. They must be hot.
Yeah. Same thing occurred to me.
When we get that slug, the ballistics can tell us whether that gun's been used on other jobs.
We got enough of their modus operandi to have the statistician give us a run-through on the IBM now.
One of them is left-handed, and he shoots quick.
Okay, be in surgery tomorrow morning at 9.
Neither Ben or I said much on the way home, but we were both thinking the same thing. I knew the chief was thinking it, too. Here were 2 men who'd shot a couple of police officers without asking any questions. Now, I suppose you've heard a lot of stories about what the force thinks of cop killers. Sure, we don't like to lose our friends and partners any better than anybody else would. Why not figure it this way? If these 2 guys would gun a couple of armed police officers, do you think they'd hesitate to shoot you, the unarmed citizen? The next morning at 9 o'clock, Ben and I had scrubbed up and we were in surgery. Williams was on the table. The surgeon started in. A lot of minutes later, he got the slug. As for Williams, they took out 7 feet of his intestine and said he might pull through.
Joe, here's the report from ballistics. The slug they took out of Williams come from a .44 Smith & Wesson. The same gun was used in a liquor store killing about a month ago.
You call the statistician?
Yeah, She's running all the cards on previous shooting through the IBM machine. She ought to be through about now. Let's take a look.
Okay, come on. Hi, Helen.
Just a second.
Okay.
Well, that's it, boys. These cards will give you all the shootings pulled by two men on foot who shot quick, one of them left-handed.
Right.
They're all yours.
You sure can tell a lot from just a bunch of little holes in these cards, can't you?
I can't, but this IBM machine can.
It never ceases to amaze me.
Okay, shall we check the cards, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Wait a minute, Ben. Here we are.
Huh?
Yeah. Here's that liquor store killing ballistics tied the Smith & Wesson in on.
Same gun that Emerson Williams was shot with?
Well, it checks out. The liquor store was in the same neighborhood as the Trapdoor Cafe.
Same gun, huh?
Got to be.
How long ago?
A month ago, yeah. Ben, take the DR number off this card and let's pull the crime report on that job. We pulled the crime report out of the files. It said that there was only one witness to that liquor store killing a month ago. That witness was a woman.
Miss Forbes, I'm sorry to disturb you like this, but we'd like to ask some questions about that liquor store killing you witnessed a little over a month ago.
Well, I told the police everything I knew about it then.
Yeah, we know, but maybe you wouldn't mind telling us again, huh?
Oh, no, I guess not. I've been trying to forget it, to tell the truth. It was pretty terrible, and I really didn't see so very much because I was awful scared.
I understand. But try to describe again just what happened, will you?
Well, it was about 10 o'clock at night. I was walking down the street toward home, and I realized I was all out of cigarettes. Well, I was right in front of the liquor store then, so I went in. The clerk was behind the counter, and there were two men standing there arguing.
What's the idea of changing your mind? I thought we was going to get bourbon.
No, let's get the wine.
I want bourbon.
Costs too much. Wine's good enough.
The rest of them want bourbon, too. We better talk to them.
Well, okay. We'll be back when we make up our mind, mister.
Two men walked out of the store, and the clerk smiled at me and shrugged his shoulders. I bought a pack of cigarettes and turned to leave. But just then the two men came back in again, and each of them had a gun in his hand.
This is stick up, mister.
The clerk just sort of crumpled to the floor. I couldn't believe my eyes, but that's just how it happened. The man said this is a stick-up, and then they shot him right away.
Get over against the wall, lady, or you'll get the same.
One of them punched the no sir on the cash register. I was shaking so I almost caved in. He scooped the money out of the drawer and stuffed it into his pocket. And the other one went over to where the liquor clerk was lying face down. He knelt down beside the clerk and he put his gun against the clerk's spine. Then they both ran out of the store. Oh, it was terrible. That clerk, he was lying there helpless and wounded, and they deliberately...
Yeah, Miss Forbes, I understand.
Oh, Miss Forbes, you said that both of the men had guns.
Yes. One of the guns was black, and the other was sort of fancy looking.
What do you mean, Miss Forbes?
Well, it was real shiny.
Nickel-plated?
I wouldn't know about that, but it was shiny.
There were two guns, huh?
Yes.
Well, now about the men themselves.
Well, I was so scared their faces just didn't register with me. The one who shot the clerk in the back was sort of stocky. That's about the best I can do.
You mentioned in the report that one of the men was left-handed.
Yes, I do remember that.
Uh-huh. Look, Miss Forbes, this is very important to us. One of the men was a redhead?
Redhead? Why, no, I didn't see any redhead.
Skipper, me and Joe's run right smack into a stone wall on this thing.
What's the complication?
Well, there's more than one, Ed. In the first place, we know that the .44 Smith & Wesson was used in both shootings, but the descriptions of the men involved don't check.
Police officer Emerson said he thought the man that shot him and Williams outside the Trapdoor Cafe was a tall, left-handed redhead. Said there's something funny about his nose.
You think Williams got a better look at him?
Well, he probably did, but Williams isn't strong enough to talk yet.
And the girl that witnessed the liquor store killing a month ago said that one of those men was left-handed. But she said neither of them was a redhead.
And on top of all that, now we've got two guns to worry about. The girl mentioned two guns, so we checked the autopsy report on that liquor clerk. And, Ed, the bullet that actually killed him came from a .32-20, not a .44 Smith & Wesson.
That fact didn't get any publicity at the time, did it?
No, it didn't.
Okay. We won't give it any publicity now, either. We'll allow down it's just the .44 Smith & Wesson we're after. Because if whoever owns the .32-20 finds out it's hot, we'll never get it. Anything else?
Well, we sent teletypes to all outlying stations in neighboring cities. Told them if they get any red-headed suspects, no matter what charge they got them on, to hold them for questioning.
Yeah. Now, how about this 3220, the actual murder weapon? Any leads on it?
We've got one, Ed. We've been checking the records, and we discovered that 4 hours after the liquor store killing, a taxi driver in the neighborhood was shot and robbed.
Slug was pretty well mashed, but there was enough to tell it was from a 3220. So we're going over to question the taxi driver now.
Good. Well, I think you boys are on the right trail. So far, what we've got is mostly unrelated facts, but sooner or later, those facts have all got to tie in at some point along the line. Find that point.
Yeah, find the point. Find the tie-in. Well, Ben and I went over to see the taxi driver, a guy who was living on borrowed time.
Yeah, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning when it happened. I got a call to pick up a fare near 105th and Avalon, you know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I got there. Somebody came over, pulled up my cab door and said, "This is a stick-up." Then Bluey, he let me have it.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, just like that.
Same deal as others, Joe. Itchy trigger finger.
Yeah. Did you get any kind of a look at the fella?
Look, no, it's too dark.
Uh-huh.
Hey, according to the report, you got shot in the chest.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you're maybe wondering how come I'm still alive, huh? I'll tell you, pal, it's like something you'd see in a bad movie, you know? I'm carrying a few silver dollars with me, 9 of them to be exact. So I decided to stick them in my breast pocket. Well, mister, that just saved my life. The slug hit them silver dollars.
It's one for the book, huh?
Yeah, you said it.
Well, thanks very much. Say, incidentally, we had a little trouble finding you today. You weren't at the stand you operated out of last month.
Oh, look, I'm not only not at my usual stand, I'm not driving a hack no more.
Oh?
Look, after what happened, are you kidding? No, I don't want to push my luck any further than it's been pushed. Yeah, I figure I had it, you know?
And about that time, Ben and I were beginning to figure we'd had it. We were getting nowhere fast. We had a few informants nosing around, but so far they hadn't come up with any leads. Well, Ben and I followed up all the teletypes that poured in. We just got back from Santa Ana, where we'd been questioning a red-headed suspect, and we'd flopped in the squad room when Chief Backstrand's door opened.
Friday. Romero. Got a minute?
Yeah, Skip.
Any luck with the Santa Ana Redheads?
No, none at all.
I guess you haven't heard the latest.
We just now got back in town, Skipper.
Early this morning, another cab driver got shot.
What?
Yeah. Man came up to his taxi, opened the door, said, "This is a stick-up," and shot him. Bullet went through one leg and into the other, but the driver managed to start his cab and drove over to a cafe. He called in from there.
Boys recovered the slug?
Yeah. It came from the same 44 Smith & Wesson that was used in the other 2 jobs.
The cab driver get a look at the gunman?
Yeah, briefly.
Was it the redhead?
No.
Oh, the stocky guy.
He wasn't redheaded and he wasn't stocky. That's all the driver knows.
Well, that's great.
Skipper, this is beginning to sound like a Gun of the Month club. You reckon somebody's renting them guns out?
Well, they're passing the guns around all right, but I think they're working together. The way they operate indicates that.
Yeah, the trigger-happy routine.
Killing is apparently more than a business to them. It's pleasure, too. That's why we've got to get to them fast. Come over here.
All right. Come on, Ben.
Here. Take a look at this map.
Uh-huh.
Here's the Trapdoor Cafe, and over here's the liquor store. And down here is where the first cab driver got shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right here's where the second one got it. All of the shootings have taken place within an area of 10 square blocks. Okay. Tonight we're going to throw a blockade around that whole area.
Good.
It'll go into effect at 10 p.m.
At 9:45 p.m., cars and officers started drifting into the area by 2s and 3s. And at 10, when Backstrand, Ben, and I arrived, the whole area was sewed up tighter than a tick.
Is now code 3. Pacific Ambulance
Davis?
1.
Got you.
All set.
All set. We got a primary line and a secondary line. If anyone tries to make a break, we'll pick them up in the secondary.
Okay. Friday and Romero here will cruise around the area with me. Go to work, men.
Every car in the area was shaken down. The same process was also followed on all persons on foot. The blockade went on all night. By the end of that time, we'd brought in 217 suspects. 26 of them were redheads.
What's your name?
Henry Wagner.
Where do you work?
Lumberyard.
Which one?
4-star.
What time did you get through work last night?
About 6, I guess.
What'd you do then?
Had some dinner.
Where?
Harry's Grill.
And what?
Shot a little pool. Look, I tell you, I ain't done nothing.
Now, let's go back to the day before yesterday. Did you work at...
And that's the way it went all day long. We shot question after question at them, working them gradually back to the days on which the shootings had taken place. When it was all over, we got 6 men wanted in other cities on various charges. We got quite an assortment of guns and knives. But as far as the shootings were concerned, we got nothing.
Well, I guess that's the last of them.
Oh, I was running out of questions there at the end.
You two boys better go on home, get some sleep.
Well, I was kind of figuring on checking back over the reports to see if we might have overlooked something.
I said go on home. You two boys have been at it for 32 hours straight. Look at you. You're both so groggy you can hardly stand up. You need sleep. It's 4 p.m. now. Don't come back until 10 p.m.
When I walked into the squad room at 10, Ben was already there. An informant had just phoned in a new lead. He told Ben he'd heard about a gang that had been hanging out down around the DeVere bungalow court in the south end of town. We knew that the DeVere was close to the Trapdoor Cafe, so we went over to talk to the manager.
Joe, I've been meaning to ask you. You checked on how Williams is getting along?
Yeah, I did. I called the hospital this afternoon. It's going to be all right.
Oh, that's fine.
Well, here we are.
Yeah, manager's office. Still got a light on.
Yeah?
I'm Sergeant Friday, police. This is Sergeant Romero.
Yeah?
We'd like a little information.
Why, sure. Come in.
Thank you.
What can I do for you?
Well, did you hear anything about a gang that hangs out down around here anywhere?
Gang? Why, no.
How about your tenants here? Any of them ever been in trouble, to your knowledge?
No. This ain't exactly the best neighborhood in town, but we try to keep things under control. Once in a while, one of them will get out of line, but when that happens, we heave them out of here.
You heaved anybody out lately?
Yeah, I did. Fellow and his wife a few weeks ago. They had a fight in one of the bungalows. She took a shot at him, but she missed. Party by the name of Stuba, Carl Stuba.
What did this Stuba look like?
Oh, sort of tall, skinny.
Was he a redhead?
No.
Now, we'd like to take a look at that bungalow that he lived in.
Sure. Help yourselves. Down the end there, number 5. Still vacant.
Well, I guess that does it. Stuba didn't leave a thing behind. Matter of fact, we don't have anything to prove that this Stuba's tied in at all. We're only working on a hunch.
Hey, Joe, look.
Where?
Up on the wall there, just by the window.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that plaster there, it's newer than the rest. You got a knife?
I sure have, boy, and I'm carving. That manager'd be awful unhappy with me if he was here.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, it might. Hey, Joe, here it is. A slug. They plastered right over it.
Okay, dig it out, and let's hope it matches. It matched. The slug from the wall came from the same 44 Smith & Wesson that had been used in the other shootings. So now we had a name to work on, Carl Stuba. But he'd done a good job of dropping out of sight. Well, the next day, Ben thought he had another lead.
I've just been talking to another informant, Joe. He says he heard that there's a fella down in that neighborhood been trying to sell a gun lately.
What kind of a gun?
Nickel-plated with steer horn handles.
Nickel-plated? Well, maybe that's our 44 Smith & Wesson.
Maybe.
Did the informant know who this man was?
Said the feller's name was Alonzo.
Yeah. Alonzo who?
Just Alonzo. That's all he knew.
So now we had 2 names, Stuba and Alonzo, but no men to go with them. So we went back to making the rounds of the substations, interviewing red-headed suspects. We took a few of them to Williams, who was home from the hospital by now, but he couldn't identify any of them as the man who shot him. Still, we kept checking. Finally, we got around to the 77th Street station. We questioned the suspects they were holding there, and we just started to leave when one of the officers called us.
Hey, Sarge, we're holding somebody else you might want to look at.
Redhead?
No.
What's the charge?
Suspicion of burglary. Small job.
Oh, I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
What's special about him?
He lives in the same neighborhood where those shootings took place.
All right. Where you got him?
Down here.
Did he admit anything?
No. He's pretty surly. Here we are.
thanks. Hi.
What do you want?
I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Sergeant Romero. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Look, I already told the other cops all I know. I didn't steal no radio from that jerk.
What's your name?
We've been through all that once.
Come on, what's your name?
Jackson. Alonzo Jackson.
Alonzo. I looked at Ben, and Ben looked at me. This could be the Alonzo who'd been trying to peddle that Smith & Wesson. Ben and I both knew here was one suspect we'd have to be real careful with.
Alonzo, according to the records, this burglary you're suspected of took place on the night of the 27th.
Look, how many times do I have to tell you guys they didn't have anything to do with it?
You got an alibi for that night?
Sure, I got an alibi. I was out with a couple of friends, I can tell you.
What's your friends' names, Alonzo?
One of them's Chronicle, the other Stuba.
Stuba, the guy who used to live in the bungalow court. Well, we told Alonzo he'd have to produce his two friends to give him an alibi for the burglary charge, and he bit. He went with us, and he pointed out where Stuba was living now. No wonder we hadn't been able to find him. It was a little shack at the back of a lot behind two houses. We thought it was a chicken coop at first. We took Alonzo back to the station, then we picked up Stuba. He was surprised to see us and not very happy. We took him in. Next, Alonzo gave us Crandall's address.
Yeah?
Mr. Crandall in?
No.
Will he be back soon?
I don't know. Who are you?
Sergeant Friday, Sergeant Romero, police.
What do you want with him?
Oh, nothing important, lady. We just wanted him as a witness.
Oh. Well, I don't know just when he'll be back. Probably an hour or two.
Okay, thank you.
We went down the street away, and we staked out in the car. We sat there for about 5 hours, and then Ben nudged me in the ribs.
Hey, Joe.
Huh?
Joe, take a look. Coming along the sidewalk.
Yeah, and he's got red hair. Come on. Crandall.
Huh?
Your name Crandall?
Who are you?
Friday Romero, police.
Police? What do you want with me? I haven't done nothing.
Well, then you got nothing in the world to worry about. Come on.
We questioned Crandall for an hour, but he wouldn't give an inch. Denied everything. Then we put him in a car, and we drove over to Officer Williams' house. I left Ben in the living room with Crandall, while I went in Williams' bedroom.
Hello, Sarge.
Hi, Williams. How you doing?
A little better, I think.
That's fine. Look, we've got another redhead outside.
Bring him in.
Okay. All right, Crandall, come on in here.
Who's in there? Why'd you bring me over here?
Come on in here. How about it, Williams?
That's the guy.
No, I'm not.
That's the guy that shot me.
Well, Crandall?
No.
Yeah.
It was an accident. I didn't mean to shoot him. It was an accident.
Once Crandall got started, he talked his head off. He also admitted being in on the liquor store killing, but insisted he was only the lookout. We took him back to the station and got his whole story down on a tape recorder. Yeah, he was left-handed. Then we went back to Alonzo, who didn't know we had Crandall's confession. We met the chief in the hall outside the room where they were holding Alonzo.
About ready to tie the knot?
Oh, hope so, Chief. But Alonzo hasn't given any yet, and we still haven't found those guns.
We've got one of them.
Which one?
The Smith & Wesson. Stuba popped about that one 10 minutes ago. Said he left it with his girl. A couple of the boys are on their way over to get it now.
That's good, Ed. That leaves just the 32-20.
You haven't mentioned the 32-20 to Alonzo, have you?
No. He still thinks we're after that Smith & Wesson, and that's the way we're going to play it right now.
Go ahead.
Look, how much longer are you guys going to hold me here? Didn't you check with those friends of mine?
Alonzo, we got a tip that you've been trying to sell a gun lately.
A gun?
Yeah, 44 Smith & Wesson.
Oh. No, it's not true.
That Smith & Wesson's been used in a couple of robbery jobs this month, and we think it's your gun.
That's a lie.
Any proof of that?
Why, yeah. Sure, I got proof of that. I used to have a gun, but it wasn't a Smith & Wesson. Look, if I tell you where it is, that ought to convince you, shouldn't it?
It'll help things.
Okay. I sold it to a neighbor of mine. He gave me $7. I'll give you his address.
You sure it's not a Smith & Wesson?
Sure, I'm sure. It's a 32-20.
Yeah, it worked. We went to the neighbor's address, and he admitted having bought the 3220, but said he'd lent it to a friend who'd never returned it. The friend had hocked the gun to a barber. The barber gave him $15 and a haircut for it. We finally got it from the barber, and we came back to the station.
I'm all set, Joe. I'll be in the next room. Just give me the nod.
Okay. Hello, Alonzo.
Hey, you got the gun.
Yeah, we got the gun.
Well, now maybe you'll believe I'm on the level. Okay if I go now?
I guess we won't be able to hold you here much longer.
You can say that again, brother. You could have saved a lot of time for you to listen to what I've been trying to tell you all along.
I guess you're right, Alonzo.
Sure, I'm right. You know, you guys would be a lot better off you believe guys like me the first time we tell you something.
But on the liquor
Instead
store
of
job,
running...
I was only a lookout. I was outside. It was the other two who pulled that one. Stuba and Alonzo. Alonzo killed the clerk.
Hold it, Alonzo. All right, Alonzo, that's enough. Now, come on, how about it?
What's the use? All right. That's like he said.
Okay, Ben, bring the recorder in here. Alonzo's ready to make a record now. By playing back Crandall's statement that we'd recorded earlier, we got a full confession from Alonzo. We took the three of them out and had them reenact the 4 shootings, and we photographed it on sound film. Crandall, the redhead, was the one who'd shot the 2 police officers, but he was only the lookout for the liquor store killing, which explains why the girl witness didn't see him in the store. Stuba and Alonzo were the ones who pulled that job, and Alonzo, the worst of the bunch, was the one who put the 3220 against the spine of the wounded clerk. The 3 of them took turns at shooting the cab drivers and robbing them. That accounted for the mixed-up descriptions, including all that left-handed business. 2 of the 3 suspects happened to be left-handed. Well, that was the crop. Crandall, Alonzo, Stuba. 4 shootings, 3 robberies, 4 attempted murders, 1 murder. The 3 men were tried and convicted. They're all in the state penitentiary. Crandall's there for life. Alonzo and Stuba, they'll be executed next week. File it, will you, Ben? Case closed.
Dragnet.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
You have just heard the second in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of C.B. Horrell, Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Radio Officer Delmer E. Cook of the Los Angeles Police Department, who, on the afternoon of December 6, 1948, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. There's a potential killer on the loose in your city. 18 women have been beaten and robbed by this man. The newspapers call him the Werewolf. Your job is to get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case, from beginning to end, from crime to punishment. Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
Thursday morning, February 2nd. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch out of robbery detail. Detectives in Los Angeles work in pairs. My partner's Ben Romero. He's a sergeant, and so am I. My name's Friday. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. I was on the way back from the teletype room, and it was 3 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail. Hi, Ben. What's up?
Keep your coat on, Joe. Just had a hotshot call. Coming, Skipper?
Right behind you. Let's go, Friday.
Well, what was it, Ed?
Another woman robbed, almost beaten to death.
Well, how many does that make?
About 18 in 6 weeks. Is that right, Skipper?
Yeah, 18 too many. Come on down these stairs to the garage.
Yeah. What about that suspect we had, Ed?
You mean Martin?
Yeah.
Had to release him this morning. But I got a good tail on him, Henderson.
Yeah. We got any report yet?
Nothing definite to hold him for. Here's the garage. Let's hustle it.
Right.
Then if this isn't Martin's job, Skipper, and he's not the right man...
Then we start all over again, and we work night and day till we find the right man. Here's the car. Let's go.
Ben, you drive.
Yeah, all right.
How do the victims describe this guy, Ed?
Pretty sketchy. Supposed to be tall, dark, long black hair. Last woman said he had a face like an animal, something like a dog or a wolf.
A wolf?
Yeah. She said something like a werewolf.
Something like a werewolf. Well, he almost had to be that, judging from the way he operated. He was either an animal or a raving maniac. One thing we were sure of, he was smart and he was dangerous. For almost 2 months, he prowled the streets in a stolen car in the early morning, usually between 3 and 5 a.m. And the victims were always lone women, most of them waitresses, coming to work or going home. He dragged them into the car, robbed them, beat them until they were unconscious, and then throw the body out into the street. That's just what we found when we pulled up to the curb near the corner of 8th and Grand. One cruiser car was already there, and so was the ambulance. About a dozen people were standing around looking at the crumpled figure of a woman sprawled out on the sidewalk. 2 officers were talking to the only witness, a thin, sallow-faced newsboy. His story didn't give us much to go on.
Like I was telling these cops, or these officers, sir, I was walking up 8th Street on my way home as usual when I see this blue Chevy sedan pull up down the block there a little way and dump out the dame's body. Actually, I don't know what to think.
You get a look at the license plate?
Well, no, I didn't. Tell you the truth, I could hardly keep from... Well, I was just plain scared.
What did you do after you saw him throw the body out, son?
Well, I just stood there for a minute, and the fellow in the car drove right on past me.
Did you get a look at him?
I sure did.
How close were you when he drove past?
Well, now, it couldn't have been more than, 8 or 10 feet away. I was right over there by the street light near the curb.
Would you know this man if you saw him again?
I don't know about his height or his build or his weight, but, mister, his face I'll never forget.
Why do you say that?
It was just like the paper says about him. Right here on the front page. Here, read it. See? Woman says attacker looked like werewolf.
That's all the newsboy could tell us. The suspect drove a blue sedan. He had a face like a werewolf. We covered the neighborhood for clues, and we questioned a dozen people, but we got nowhere. We took the witness's name and address, and we drove down a couple of blocks to an all-night gas station.
14-hour off to Metropolitan.
I'm going in here and call the office and see if Henderson's called in on Martin. We might still have a suspect.
Right, Skipper?
13-hour off to Metropolitan.
Looks as mad as a wet hornet, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah. Did you get a good look at that woman's face when they moved her in the ambulance?
Yeah. Sure does like to mess him up.
Oh, I don't know how we're going to get him, Ben, but we better do it fast. Next time, it'll probably be murder.
Oh, here comes the skipper, Joe. Uh-oh. Doesn't look good.
What is it, Ed?
Just talked to Henderson. He tailed Martin to a bar in Long Beach. He hasn't been out of his sight for 2 minutes since yesterday. Martin's clear.
And we're right back where we started.
Yeah, with one more half-dead woman in the hospital.
Well, how about that stolen car, Skip?
Wait a minute.
Victim of
Get that
211
radio
and
up.
attack.
Okay.
Code 3. Ambulance dispatched.
Code?
Attention, all units. On Grand Avenue between Venice and Washington. A woman, victim of robbery and attack. Code 3. Ambulance to task.
Code 3, red light and siren. Come on, Friday, let's roll.
We
We couldn't be sure, but it sounded like another one. 6 minutes later, we were there. Same story. Werewolf. The next day, the chief ordered the number of cruiser cars doubled in the Central District. This was for the early morning watch with plainclothesmen to back them up. Then the newspapers played it big, and in 2 days, the story was on the front page of every paper in town. Maybe that should have made the werewolf lay low, but it didn't. Because at 4 o'clock that morning, while Ben and I were patrolling with the other cars, he got his 20th victim.
Attention, all units. Whittier between Soto and Matthews. A woman, victim of 211, an attack. Code 3. Ambulance dispatched.
Here's a report on that blue sedan he used the other night, Joe. Found it out on Anaheim Telegraph Road.
Any luck with it?
Not one fingerprint we can use.
Anything else?
Nothing.
Well, how about the auto theft detail?
Same old story, Joe. He steals a car, uses it once, and then drops it. Never leaves a thing behind.
Well, that's great. We're sure moving fast.
How about that big guy you picked out of the lineup this morning?
Oh, I checked his alibi. It's perfect.
Now we haven't got even half a clue.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's check with Ed. He's instructing the policewomen on the plan for tonight.
All right. Now you've heard the report. You understand how the suspect operates and what you're to do.
I think so.
Remember, all of you forget you were ever policewomen. Change the way you walk, the way you carry yourselves. That's the part you're playing, all right?
Okay.
And be careful and don't take any chances. All right, Freddy.
Okay, Ed. Now, just to make sure you look the part, we're spotting each one of you at different restaurants and coffee shops throughout the Central District. And from 7 o'clock tonight until daylight tomorrow, each one of you is going to be a waitress. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben, you want to give them their assignments?
Okay, Joe. Well, here's the way it lines up. Marge Kissel at the Top Hat Cafe. That's on 9th Street between Alpharetta and Westlake.
Okay.
And Katie Welch, Joe's Coffee House, Brooklyn, Soto.
Right.
Pat Fielding at the All-Night Steakhouse on Figueroa Street between Florence.
No, the trick of using decoys to lure criminals into a trap wasn't exactly new, but, well, it was just one of the old tricks that we figured might land the werewolf behind bars. At 7 that night, Ben and I made the rounds and found each of the policewomen on her job as a waitress. Well, the overall plan was simple. The girls were to leave the different restaurants between 3 and 5 a.m. that morning and pretend they were walking home. We mapped different courses for each one of them to throw out as much bait as possible and yet not to make it look suspicious. Each policewoman, from the time she left the restaurant and stepped out into the deserted streets, would be pretty much on her own. We had officers planted all along the way at designated intervals, but a big element of chance and danger was still there. All we could do was cross our fingers and hope.
How much more time, Joe?
Let me see. She's due in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Waiting gets on your nerves.
And it won't be long.
This corner doorway's pretty good lookout spot.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Listen.
Who is it, Joe? Can you see?
Get back.
What is it?
Wait a minute. It's Marge Kissel. There's a man following her, a big guy.
If it's the werewolf, where's his car?
I don't know. Maybe he changed his plans. Get back. Here they come.
You get a look at him, Joe?
Oh, pretty good. Not too suspicious. Might be coincidence.
Well, I got a pretty good lead. Come on, let's go.
Stay back in the shadows.
Hey, Joe. So where'd the guy go to? I lost him.
The little coffee shop up on the next corner, see? Take a look.
Oh, yeah. He's opening the door. He's turning on the latch. Yeah. Looks like a false alarm, Joe.
Well, let's check him anyway. Well, I didn't think we'd be that lucky on the first try, and we weren't. We asked the man a few questions, and it didn't take him long to show us he wasn't our man. He owned the coffee shop. So, Ben and I went back and took up our posts again and waited for the next decoy. We covered that 10-block course 6 times that morning, back and forth, following the bait, but it was almost as if the guy could sense a trap. Not once did we get a nibble. By the time our last decoy finished the route, it was almost daylight.
Joe, I never was so glad to see that sun come up in my whole life. My feet feel like they're puffing right up out of my shoes.
Yeah, me too. Come on, let's get over to the car and check on the other squad out in Boyle Heights. Oh. Hit the radio, will you, Ben?
Yeah. Joe, there must be some easier job on the force than this.
Yeah, you and me both. Now, let's see what happened to the others, huh? 80K to Unit 104K. Come in.
104K to Unit 80K. Go ahead.
104K, this is Friday. You do any good out there?
This is Miller. I'll call Curtis. Stand by.
80K to 104K, Roger.
What do you think, Joe? Maybe a bite?
I don't know. Oh, this guy seems to work like a mind reader. Well, he can't win all of them.
104K to Unit 80K. This is Curtis. Go ahead.
This is Friday, Al. How'd you do out there? Any luck?
Just checked in the last gal, Joe. Katie Welch, not a sign.
Okay, Al. Have the men check in. 80K clear. KGPL. Okay, let's go, Ben. When we finally got back to the office that morning, both Ben and I were ready for some sleep, but it didn't look like we were going to get it. We just about finished going through the overnight reports for some kind of a lead when the phone rang. Robbery Friday.
Hi, Joe. This is Wilkerson, auto theft.
Hi, Wilkie. You got something for us?
Not much, Joe, but it might work into something. Just got a report in on a pair of stolen license plates.
Oh?
Yeah. I'm not much of a hawkshaw, but I figure there's just a chance it might be your werewolf boy.
How come?
I don't know, maybe just a hunch. After 13 years in this business, you get to know thieves pretty well. Sometimes you got to even think like them.
Okay, Wilkie, thanks. We'll check by in a couple of minutes.
Right, Joe.
What do you have to say?
Pair of license plates stolen last night. Wilkie's got a hunch it could have been our man.
Well, might be an angle, Joe. If that werewolf guy'd hang on to one car long enough, we'd have a chance at him.
Well, he's too smart for that.
I don't know, Joe. Sooner or later, he's going to make a mistake.
Yeah. Come on, let's check with Wilkie. Well, we checked with Wilkerson. We got the best piece of news we'd had in days. On the average, 95% of stolen cars are recovered or located within 24 hours. In the remaining 5%, Wilkerson, by a simple process of elimination, narrowed down the number of cars the suspect might be driving. Wilkie figured 6 cars.
There they are. Now, I'll bet you if you picked up your man tonight, he'd be in one of these cars.
Let me see, huh? 2-door black sedan, yellow convertible, another sedan, green, blue coupe, black coupe, and a gray convertible. Well, that's good work, Wilkie. At least we got something to look for now.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. Wilkie, you got the numbers of those stolen plates you're talking about?
Yeah, right here, Ben. They're already on the hot sheet.
Good. Keep us posted, huh?
As usual, Ben.
See you later, Wilkie.
That's a good break, Ben. Something to keep us busy tonight.
Tonight? What do you mean?
We're setting another trap. Same thing as last night. Same police women, same everything.
Well, only this time let's hope he steps into it. You know, Joe, this werewolf character's getting me mad.
That night, we followed in our own footsteps. We planted the policewomen decoys in 3 separate districts, and a few minutes before 3 a.m., our squad of men took up their positions. The same policewomen went to their waitress jobs in the same restaurants, and Ben and I and the rest of the men stood in darkened doorways or empty filling stations or whatever cover we could find. And we waited and waited.
What time is it, Joe?
Let me look. 4:30.
Oh, thank you. Any sign, Joe?
No, nothing yet. Come on, stay in the shadows. That's the way it went all through the early morning. The same plan over and over again until daylight. Ben and I would check in at the station, go over the late stolen car reports with Wilkie, catch a few hours sleep at home, and then come back and do it all over again. The next night, and the next morning, the night after that, and the morning after that. 5 days later, Ben and I were ready to call it quits.
I'll admit it, Joe, I can't figure it. The guy's either psychic or else he can smell a cop a mile away.
Yeah, well, at least we got that stolen car angle left. Did you check with Wilkie yet this morning?
I'll give him a call now.
All right.
Auto theft, Wilkerson.
This is Ben, Wilkie. You got anything for us this morning?
Yeah, I was just going to call you. You fellas ought to let me solve your cases for you.
Why? What'd you get?
The boys picked up 3 of those 6 stolen cars since late yesterday.
Great. Now, what does that leave us with?
Well, here are the 3 still missing.
Yeah.
4 X-ray 763.
Yeah.
5-6 Young 342.
Uh-huh.
6-1 Robert 385.
Yeah.
Got those?
Yeah, thank you, Wilkie. Check you later.
Good news?
Remember those 6 missing cars?
Yeah.
Wilkie says the boys found 3 of them since late yesterday. Here's what's still out. The blue coupe, the yellow convertible, and the gray convertible.
Yeah. Well, this feels like the right track for a change, Ben.
Righty. Romero, got a minute?
Sure thing, Skipper. Come on, Joe.
What do you got, Ed?
Woman out in Hollywood just called in with this. She said she walked down to the corner from her house last night to mail a letter. On the way back, a guy pulled up in the car and tried to drag her inside.
Any description?
Big, heavy-set, dark, same thing.
Well, how'd you get away from him, Skip?
She said she started running as soon as he made a motion toward her. And he saw her run up the steps of her house. He jumped back in the car and took off.
Well, how come she didn't call in before this?
She hasn't got a phone. She's afraid to leave the house again till this morning.
Sounds good, Chief. You got her address there?
Here you are. Mrs. Tom Burdick, 1237 Wilcox, apartment 10.
Come on, Ben. This might be what we're looking for.
Who is it? Who's there?
Sergeant Friday, ma'am. Police.
Oh, just a moment.
I'm Sergeant Romero, Miss Burdick. This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. We come out to check on your call about that little trouble last night.
Oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be much help to you. I was so frightened about all I could do was just run.
Well, could you add anything to the man's description, Miss Burdick? I mean, other than what you told the chief on the phone?
Well, now, honestly, I don't think I can. All I saw was this tall, dark man jumping out of his car and starting for me. He had a heavy build and seemed to me, well, a large head with lots of long black hair.
Miss Burdick, would you recognize this man if you ever saw him again?
Well, I think I might. He was such an unusually big man, almost frightened me to death.
Well, just one more question, Miss Burdick. Could you describe the car this man was driving when he approached you?
His car?
Mm-hmm.
Why, yes. It was a gray convertible.
Miss Burdick, are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm sure of it. A gray convertible.
Thank you, Miss Burdick. That's all we wanted to know. Sometimes when you're on a case, you can chase yourself around in circles for weeks trying to fit together just two little pieces of a yard-long jigsaw puzzle. And a lot of the time, you find the answer where you least expect it. But once you get that feeling you're after the right man in the right way, there's nothing that can shake you. When Ben and I got back to headquarters, we went straight to the chief's office with the story, and we had him stake out the gray convertible. In other words, if any detective or officer spotted the car, he reported it back to us, but he stayed away from it. We figured that there probably weren't more than two of the victims who could take the witness stand and identify the man who robbed and beat them. Not with a smart defense lawyer, anyway. So there was only one way to catch this suspect. Red-handed.
Here they are, Joe. Both sets of license numbers for that gray convertible. Here the original, and here the numbers on the stolen plate.
Good. Everybody got a hot sheet?
From the chief all the way down to the janitor.
Fine. Now let's get together with Ed, huh?
Hot shot, Joe. Grab it.
I got it.
On the corner of California and Oakwood, a woman badly beaten. On the corner of California and Oakwood, a woman badly...
Come on, Ben, another one.
But, Joe, it's broad daylight.
Yeah, doesn't figure, does it? Come on.
That vacant lot over there, Joe.
Two plainclothesmen and uniformed officers were keeping the crowd back. An ambulance was drawn up by the curb, but it was empty. When we got down to the rear of the lot, we found out why. They were waiting for the coroner. The woman was young, not much more than 30. Her body was half sprawled across the muddy ground, and her face was turned upward. It had been badly beaten.
They figured it happened last night, Sergeant.
Have the fingerprint men been notified?
Yeah.
How about the crime lab?
Just called them.
That's good. Now, let's keep everybody out of the area till they get here.
Right, Sergeant.
Who found the body?
One of the kids in the neighborhood. The woman was dead when he found her.
Did she live around here?
About a half mile away. I hear she's got 3 kids. Or, she had 3 kids.
Uh-huh. You've seen enough, Ben?
Yeah. Let's get on back to headquarters.
All the way back to headquarters, Ben and I planned our next move. And by the time we got to Ed Backstrand's office, we knew exactly what had to be done. When we told him about the werewolf murder, he didn't say a thing for a minute. He just stared across the room at the calendar on the wall. Then he brought his hand down hard against the desk.
Friday, Romero, I'm only going to say this once, so get it straight. That guy's pulled his last job in this city. He's through robbing and beating women, and he's through with murder. I've given you time to track him down, and now I want him in. No stalls, no excuses. I want him. I don't care how many men you use, and I don't care how you get him, but get him. That's all.
Ben and I worked all that afternoon, right through dinner. up until 8 o'clock. By that time, the overall plan was down on paper and already in action. It was one of the biggest things we'd ever tackled, and, well, we didn't know if it was going to work. We only knew it had to work. We had a squad of 65 cars to stretch out over 40 square miles of the city in one big dragnet. The blockade itself would be stationary most of the time, and working inside it would be 2 cars, 14 policewomen as decoys, with 2 plainclothesmen assigned to watch each policewoman. If and when the werewolf was sighted in the gray convertible, we'd automatically take over the police radio for the whole city, and Backstrand would direct the chase from headquarters. A little after 8, we had coffee and hamburgers, and we went to Ben's for a few hours. Ben tucked his kid in bed as usual, and then he laid down for a nap. I talked to his wife until I dozed off in the chair. At 11:30, she woke us up. I combed my hair and put on my coat. Cops' wives are like everybody else's. They worry. When we met Ed at headquarters, we did some last-minute checking on details with Backstrand for about a half an hour, and then we were all ready to go. By 5 minutes past 2, half the dragnet crew pulled out of the police garage and scattered over the city to their places. By 2:35, the other half pulled out, and a few minutes later, Ben and I followed. At 3 minutes to 3 that morning, Backstrand took over communications and checked every car in the operation.
Standby. 617.
It was a good start. Every man in his right place by the right time. The trap was set. All we needed now was to find our suspect, the werewolf, inside.
Control 4 to Unit 80K. Control 4 to Unit 80K.
80K to Control 4. Go ahead.
This is Backstrand, standing by.
80K, roger. Clear. KGPL. Okay, Ben. Now let's go find him.
I got a hunch, Joe. Let's try the Wilshire district first.
Sounds all right to me. Let's go. For the first hour and a half, we raked the Wilshire district back and forth. Not a sign. Then about 38 minutes past 4, we headed back for the downtown area and parked in an alley where we could double-check on one of our policewomen decoys.
Here comes one of the gals now, Joe. Pat Field. Bet her feet are almost as tarred as mine.
Yeah. You see anything else, Ben?
Nothing. Quiet as a church. No, wait a minute. Car just turned the corner. Heading up in the same direction she is. Joe. Joe, it's slowing down. Wait a minute. It's pulling up beside her. It's a gray convertible. It's him, Joe. Come on.
Ben, get down. He sees us. He's got a gun. You all right, Ben? Yeah, look at that guy take off. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4.
Unit 80K, go ahead.
We've spotted the suspect. He's driving a gray Ford convertible, license 61 Robert 385. Suspect's headed east on Olympic from Alameda, driving without lights. Suspect is armed. He had a fast car and he knew how to drive it. We almost lost him twice. 2 minutes after we sighted him, Backstrand took over full radio control.
Control 4 to Unit 80K, your location?
80K to Control 4. We're traveling at a high rate of speed, headed east on Olympic, crossing Soto Street.
Control 4 to all units, stand by. Units 11A, 12, and 13R close in on the intersections at Olympic and Lorena. Units 41, 42, 45, and 104K move on the next 4 crossings east of that. To the north and south, units 105K, 14A, 17R, 43J. Block all main arteries.
In the next half hour, the 65 cars in the dragnet had pulled in like a noose around a 5-mile area. Ben and I hoped it was just a matter of time. Unit 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to 80K, go ahead.
He's headed north on Fresno Street, crossing Whittier Boulevard.
Attention all units. 80K now pursuing suspect north on Fresno from Whittier Boulevard. Units 15, 105K, 11R, and 18A block off the intersection on Fresno and 4.
Hey, Ben, up there ahead. What's he trying to do now? Look, he's turning around.
Yeah, and he's coming right for us. Watch it, Joe. Look out!
Pretty close. 80K to Control 4.
Control 4 to 80K, go ahead.
Exchanging shots with suspect. Watch it, Ben. Here he comes again. Sure likes to use that gun, doesn't he?
Sure does.
Hey, Joe, look. Look, he's turning east. He's running for Hollenbeck Park.
Yeah, 80K to Control 4.
Control 4, go ahead.
Suspect just drove up over curb and into Hollenbeck Park.
Control 4 to all units. Control 4 to all units. Converge on Hollenbeck Park. Suspect is in the park. He's armed. Use caution. Code 3.
Looks like a night baseball game with only headlines.
Yeah, come on, let's get him.
Yeah. Never say die, huh, Joe? Joe, can you get a shot at him?
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! I'll give up! Don't shoot!
Then step out in the open and get your hands in the air.
All right, I give up, but don't shoot!
You're a brave killer.
Yeah, come on. All right, you get your hands in the air. Come on, higher.
Joe, look out, he's got a knife.
I got him.
Joe, those women were right. He does look like a werewolf.
Yeah. You got your handcuffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Got a cigarette?
I've been out for an hour. Little place across the street. Maybe we can get some there.
Okay. There's the crew from the 41R.
Hey, fellas, take him into robbery, will you?
Okay, Friday.
I think there's a vending machine in there.
Uh-huh. Say, you got some change for the cigarette machine, mister?
I think so. Say, who was that guy all them cops were after over in the park a little while ago?
I picked up the werewolf. Been reading the papers?
Yeah. You fellas cops?
Yeah.
Sure made it easy for you, didn't he? All you cops had to do was surround the little fella in the park. Nothing to it, huh?
Yeah, that's right, mister. Nothing to it.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Walter Barton, known as the Werewolf, was tried and convicted and is now serving a full life sentence at the state penitentiary. This has been Dragnet, the third in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of C.B. Horrell, Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Sergeant Mario Victor Dairo of the Los Angeles Police Department, who, on the morning of January 1st, 1943, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Our next broadcast is heralded as the only national program that brings you authentic police case history. It premiered as G-Men, sponsored by Chevrolet on July 20th of 1935. And then in January 15th of 1936, the show changed its name and had a 21-year run through November 20th of 1957. Beginning with a barrage of loud sound effects, guns firing, and tires squealing, this intrusive introduction led to the popular catchphrase, "Came on like gangbusters," next on HOJO Radio.
And now, in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, the CBS Radio Network presents Gangbusters. Gangbusters, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories, has asked Lieutenant Thomas J. McGrath, retired, Chicago Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Lieutenant McGrath.
Thank you. And good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Because state boundaries and city limits mean nothing to a criminal, The police of one jurisdiction must often call upon those in another for assistance in trapping a fugitive. Such assistance is invariably offered most generously for many reasons, principally because a fugitive loose in a city will eventually become a lawbreaker there. To show how it works, let's begin one summer afternoon a few years ago in the city of Chicago. In a lunchroom on Madison Street, west of the river, a man in his middle 30s sat at a table waiting for the waitress to bring his order. He also kept his eyes on the front door. Finally, another man arrived and walked to his table.
Hello, Nicky.
How are you, John?
Long time no see.
Sit down.
Yeah. When you called and said it was you, I thought somebody was kidding. What you doing back in Chicago, Nicky?
I missed the lake. Came back to look at the water.
Things get too hot on the coast?
Something like that.
How you fix for cash?
Don't tell me you're giving it away.
Well, if you're pressed. Always in the market for good merchandise.
Well, maybe we can do some business, John. If your prices have come up any.
Show me what you got. I'll put a price on it.
I landed in town. The place looked strange to me.
Well, things change in 10 years, Nicky.
I didn't know a soul, so I said to myself, Nicky, maybe old John is still in business. I look you up in the telephone book, and what do you know? There you are at the same old stand. How's the cleaning and pressing business, John?
It's all right for a sideline. Bring whatever you got around. I'll make you a deal.
Got one piece with me.
Let's see it.
Sure.
Things are hot on the coast, huh?
Lukewarm. Diamond ring. Genuine antique. I'm going to stick around Chicago, John. I got myself a two-bit job in wholesale grocers.
Job's a good thing. 500 on the ring, Nicky.
Give it back. Genuine antique.
Okay, suit yourself.
Here you are, mister. Oh. Hi, John.
A hamburger, Liz. Not too well. A cup of coffee.
Okay, John. Hey, that's a nice ring.
You're telling me?
It's the kind of ring a girl dreams about.
Go on, Liz. We're talking business.
Oh, you know it's business.
Bet you don't break your back on that job, Nicky.
Just a few pencil points. I'm a checker. What'd you call that waitress, Liz?
Yeah, why?
Not a bad-looking trick.
Well, maybe I can fix it up for you.
I can do my own fixing.
Yeah? Here she comes. See how far you can get.
You want your coffee now, John?
No, later.
Okay. How's the beef, mister?
Great. What there is of it. Say, I've been away a long time. Maybe you'd like to show me a few of the new spots around.
And maybe I wouldn't. What do you have for dessert?
Apple pie's not bad here, Nicky.
The girl treats me right, I treat her right.
Do you want dessert or don't you? I got 5 on the table.
Apple pie sounds okay. No, John, I don't think I'll sell you the ring. No, I don't think so.
Well, it's up to you.
I can find some use for it, I guess.
Do you want coffee with a pie or something?
How about it, kid?
Okay, mister. You got a date.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, at about that same time, another man arrived in Chicago from the West Coast. He was Sergeant Ed Sully of the Homicide Bureau, Los Angeles Police Department. He checked his bag at the LaSalle Street station and took a cab to the police building at 11th and State, where he was immediately shown to the office of Lieutenant Peter Sukar.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Oh, come and sit down.
Yeah, thanks.
How's the trip?
All right, fine, I guess.
Oh, this is Detective Joe Cecilia, Sergeant Sully.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, you got a hotel?
Yeah, I got a reservation at the Royal.
Oh, it's a nice place. Where's your bag, Sergeant, outside?
No, I checked it in the station.
Well, we can pick it up later. Now, this guy, Nicky Small, we haven't got anything on him here. He was never arrested here under that name.
No, I don't guess he was. We don't think he started to use that name till he got out to the coast. He was picked up out there for investigation of robbery a couple of times and released. I brought along some mug shots and set of prints on them.
Oh, good, good. Sass, send these prints up to BI and have them checked out, will you?
Yeah, sure, Lieutenant. Right away.
So, how long has it been since this Nicky left Chicago?
Oh, 8-9 years.
It's a long time.
The information we got says that at that time he hung out on Madison Street near the river.
It's a lot of territory. And rough territory.
prints are on the way up, Lieutenant.
Oh, good. Who'd he kill anyway, this Mickey?
Well, he and 3 others tried to shake a restaurant owner. They found his money and beat him to death.
Nice boys.
We got 3 of them. They told us Mickey originally came from Chicago, and they thought he was headed back here.
Well, pretty much of a long shot.
In addition to the cash, they took some jewelry. Mickey's part of the jewelry was an antique diamond ring.
Well, yeah, I saw the circular on that. The chief sent the circular along with the letter. What do you think, Sass?
We can try.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Sergeant. Sass will drive you over for your bag and get you settled in the hotel, and then we'll start checking around that neighborhood. Okay?
It's okay with me, Lieutenant.
We'll help you find him, if he's here.
Well, after coming 2,000 miles, he better be here.
Finish your drink, Liz, baby. There's more where that came from.
I don't need any help from you. I can finish it without you putting your arm around me.
What kind of a sport are you anyway?
Not the kind of sport you think, Nicky. Now keep your distance.
If I'd have known it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have given you a second look in the restaurant.
I got a laugh to and dragged you out with me.
What's the matter, Liz? Don't I appeal to you?
In a way, yeah.
What do you mean, in a way?
You're okay, Nicky, but I wouldn't want you to get the wrong impression.
And it ain't no burning romance.
You said you wanted a little company. Here I am, company.
What are you fishing for, kid?
Me? Fishing?
I got your tag, baby. The minute I flashed that ring, your eyes popped out.
Hey, what do you take me for?
I don't blame you, baby. Anybody'd like that ring. But like I told John, I got a use for it.
Oh?
What do you say, kid? Come here.
Stay away from me. Stay away.
Oh, okay.
In a public place, I never.
Well, I was just getting up close to tell you. The ring is for you.
For me?
Yeah.
You don't mean it.
Didn't I say it?
Nicky! Oh, where is it? Let's see it.
Now, you don't think I'd carry a valuable ring like that around with me?
No, I guess you wouldn't.
When I give a present, I give what suits the lady. How about tomorrow night?
What time will you be by, Nicky?
Same time, baby. And dial up. Dial up good. You got a real surprise, Kelly. Now, how about that other drink?
Well, Nicky, I can't hardly finish this one if you're holding me so tight. But it's nice.
So, Gangbusters listeners, as the fugitive was getting settled in Chicago, detectives began the tremendous job of canvassing the district west of the Chicago River between Madison Street and Cermak Road, showing the fugitive's photograph to merchants, hotel clerks, and rooming house operators. Late the next afternoon, Sergeant Sully and Lieutenant Sukor were walking together down Madison Street.
Well, I guess it's pretty hopeless, Lieutenant.
Yeah, 8 or 9 years is a long time, Ed.
Lieutenant, I can't ask you fellows to waste any more time.
The files are full of cases have been cleared because a little time was wasted on them. We'll stick with this till we...
Hello, Lieutenant. Ed.
Any luck, Sass?
No, not a nibble. I flashed Nicky's picture at every shopkeeper on the side streets all the way down to the park. Oh, they ought to make these sidewalks soft.
How about Malloy?
He's working the other side. He ought to be along any minute.
What do you say, Ed? You willing to call it a day?
Sure, Lieutenant. Some of the stores are closing anyway. There's no need of you fellas going any farther with it. I'll cover the rest of the neighborhood myself tomorrow.
That's a big order, Ed. We'll stick with you one more day. How about it?
You got a deal.
Come on, Sass. Let's find Malloy and get out of here.
Lieutenant, you got another deal.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment. Here are some sensible thoughts for amateurs in the investment field. Before you turn to any type of investment, you should have a cash reserve for emergencies. And before you turn to speculative investments, you should have a growing amount of non-speculative United States defense bonds, whose interest is guaranteed. Remember, the new U.S. defense bond is worth more quicker. It builds up towards the full 3% interest on a much faster time scale, so that even if your bonds must be cashed in before full maturity, they pay much more than before. Regular bond purchases are patriotism with profit. Where you bank or where you work, buy U.S. defense bonds regularly. They help America and they help you to future security. And now back to Gangbusters.
Okay, all right. Hi, Nicky. Come in.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, this is not a bad place you got here, Liz. Not bad at all.
I call it home. You like my dress?
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, sit down, Nicky. Make yourself comfortable.
Come here, baby.
Nicky, I just put my lipstick on.
Did you?
Nicky, is that package for me?
Well, that depends.
Oh, honey.
What's your lipstick?
Who cares for lipstick?
Now, I guess this package is for you.
Gee, it's kind of a big package for a ring.
Well, I had to do a job of wrapping for something that fitted you so perfectly.
I guess you did.
Well, go on, open it.
Oh, sure. Oh, this is really something. It's just a... Nicky. What is this, anyway?
Just what it looks like. A bottle of pickled onions. We got 1,000,000 of them where I work. You want some more?
Why, you...
Yeah, go on.
What do you think I am?
I'll tell you what you are. Trying to con me out of that ring.
Go on, get out of here.
I just want you to know that nobody plays me for a chump. Nobody. Nobody, you understand?
Please.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Let's see if you understand this. So, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Let you understand. That kind of stuff might go with some of those jerks around that hash house, but not me. Remember that.
Get out of here.
You don't have to coax me, baby. I'm gone. Hope you enjoy the onions.
Nicky, here. I hope you enjoy them.
You're lucky, Liz. You're lucky you got such a rotten name. For crying out loud, John, will you stop that pressing and talk business with me? I want to make a deal for this stuff.
Look, Nicky, in the first place, nobody asked you to come. In the second place, a customer's coming back for this suit in half an hour. I promised they're going to be pressed.
What's more important, the cleaning business or making a deal for this stuff? I got to get back on the job.
Somebody's come in out front.
It's not that guy for a suit already.
How should I know? You wait here. Good afternoon. Something I can do?
We're from the police department.
Is something the matter?
No, we'd just like you to take a look at this picture. Tell us if you know this man.
This man?
Yeah. Is he a customer? Have you ever seen him around the neighborhood?
No.
He doesn't look familiar to you?
No.
Are you the only one who waits on trade here?
That's a small business.
Who's that in the back you were talking to?
Nobody. Just a customer getting his pants pressed. No, I never seen this fella.
Come on, Ed.
Much obliged to you.
So long. And, thanks.
It's okay. Anytime.
Go ahead, look.
You. Nicky, you know what that was? Cops.
Cops?
Yeah, and they flashed your picture.
You're kidding.
No, I don't kid about this kind of thing. You're hot, Nicky. You better move. Get packed. Get out.
All right, okay, I'll move. Stop pressing that suit. They might be hanging around.
Yeah.
Well, Lieutenant, I guess we might as well call it quits after today, huh?
Well, we still have a little while to go, Ed. Only takes one break.
Yeah, but where is it?
Well, how about a cup of coffee?
Sure, why not?
Come on, we'll duck into that place there. Doesn't look too bad.
No, not too bad.
Go on.
Counter or table?
Well, how about that table there?
Good enough. Well, nobody can say we didn't try.
Well, if you gentlemen, lunch?
No, just coffee for me.
Coffee.
Coffee here, too, and a piece of pie.
We got apple, cherry, lemon meringue, peach, coconut.
Apple's okay.
2 coffees, 1 apple pie.
Miss,
Listen, I don't go out with the customers.
we're police officers.
Yeah? So?
Take a look at this picture. Tell me if you ever saw the man in here, will you?
Yeah, sure. Hey, it's Nicky.
What, you know him?
Yeah. What's he done?
When'd you see him?
Gee, last night I was out with him.
You know where he lives?
No.
Or where he works?
No. We were only out twice. He never told me a thing. Honest, nothing. Only met him in here. He came in with old John that runs a cleaning and pressing place.
In the next block?
Yeah, that's John.
Do you think Nicky will come back here again?
If he does, I'll kill him. I almost killed him last night, that dirty rot. What's the use of talking to him?
What happened?
He's supposed to give me a present, the Chisler. You know what he gives me? A bottle of onions, a bottle of pickled onions. The wise guy didn't cost him a cent. He told me he got him where he works.
And where's that?
I don't know, I told you. Some wholesale grocer, I guess.
Where are the onions? Have you still got them?
I threw the bottle at him. It broke. Hey, what's going on? What's he done?
Plenty.
I can imagine.
What's your name?
Liz Truman. No relation. What did he do, anyway?
He's wanted for murder.
Murder?
Yeah.
Oh, murder. Brother.
All right, Liz. We'll call you when we need you. Go take care of your tables.
Yeah, murder. Brother.
Well, there's your break. Yeah. We ought to start checking all the wholesale grocers around here.
Well, the first thing, I'd better call in and get 2 men to stake this place out.
It's a good idea. He might show back here. What about this John?
We'll stake his store out, too. Huh? Feel better, Ed?
Yeah. A lot better. We were fishing without even a line. Now, at least we've got a hook.
We'll come up with a fish, too. Just wait.
Hello?
Hello, John. It's Nicky. Gotta see you.
I got the store staked out, Nicky. Stay away.
What about the merchandise? I gotta make a sale.
You want to land us both in the can? Stay away.
I bought a car. I need the cash. I'm pulling out tomorrow afternoon.
Well, you better start pulling out right now. You're hot.
The car won't be ready.
Get off the wire, Nicky.
Listen, John.
Well, I gotta get off the wire. So long, Nicky. Good luck.
Ed. Yeah.
Hello, Lieutenant. No sign of him around here.
Get in.
Yeah. What's doing?
Cecily located the place where he works.
What?
Yeah. It's a wholesale grocer's.
That's a break, Lieutenant.
I don't know. He didn't show up on the job today.
Oh, I knew it was too good to be true.
Today's payday, and he's got a week's pay coming.
If he thinks we're close to him, he'd be a fool to show up for it.
Well, let's play him for being a fool. We'll stake the place out and hope for the best.
Gangbusters listeners, officers who are working to trap the elusive killer arranged an around-the-clock watch at the wholesale grocery warehouse. The next morning, Lieutenant Sucor and Sergeant Sully, dressed in work clothes, loafed near the entrance to the loft building in which the warehouse was located.
Ed, I got a sneaky suspicion this John tipped him off. I hate to say it, but it doesn't much look like he'll show up here or anyplace else in town.
Like I said, if he's got any sense, he won't.
Well, he seems to be a pretty cute operator.
Wait a minute. Look at that guy.
Well,
he's headed this way. That looks like him.
Yeah, some.
He's turning into the building.
Let's check him out.
Same build, all right.
I got the door. There he is, at the elevator. Sass is on the elevator. You'll make him, too. Okay. Did you ring it up, pal?
Yeah, I rang it.
Nice day out.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'd like to go see the Sox play.
Here we are.
Up, going up.
5. 6, please.
5.
Listen, Nicky.
Hey, what's the idea?
Stop it, Sass. Yeah.
What are you...
We're police officers, Nicky. Hold still.
Don't move.
Now, listen.
Don't move, I said. Nothing on him.
What do you expect to find?
Okay, Sass. Take it down. Yeah.
Hey, what's the idea? I just come to collect my pay. I'm a working man.
I'm going to collect a lot more, Nicky. Back in Los Angeles.
Oh.
That. Yeah, that. It's a rap for murder.
So, Gangbusters listeners, this killer was flushed out from among 3 million people by Los Angeles and Chicago officers. He was returned to Los Angeles and placed on trial for murder with his confederates in the crime. All were found guilty and are now serving maximum sentences of life imprisonment in various California institutions.
Thank you, Lieutenant Thomas J. McGrath. Now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clue, broadcast every week as a public service to assist American police in their war against the underworld. Attention all citizens. Be on the alert for John Othello Evans, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid confinement for the crime of robbery. Listen carefully to his official description.
Age 33, 5 feet 8 inches, 150 pounds, slender build, brown hair thinning, blue eyes, fair complexion, scar on upper lip, has tattoos on inner right forearm of a scroll with the names Stanley and John and the year 1937, tattoo on left forearm of girl's head. He may seek work as a restaurant worker or punch press operator.
Caution. Evans may be armed and should be considered dangerous. If you have any information concerning this clue, notify your local police, the nearest office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. Tonight's Gangbusters case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by Leonard L. Bass, with Ralph Bell, Joe Julian, and M.C. Strickland in leading roles. The entire production was supervised for CBS Radio by John Ives. Stuart Metz speaking. Gangbusters, a production of CBS Radio in cooperation with Phillips H. Lord, is brought to you each week, same time, same CBS station. For top Sunday night drama, don't miss your Playhouse on Broadway, co-starring a nationally known actor or actress with a college drama school student, adding to the drama of a good story the human interest of a newcomer's first big chance at stardom. Also Sunday nights on CBS Radio, listen for Inner Sanctum, where the atmosphere keeps cool in spite of the weather, where there are chills and thrills for every member of the family. Tomorrow night, enjoy Playhouse on Broadway and Inner Sanctum for two rattling good stories on most of these same CBS radio stations. This is the CBS Radio Network.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Louis J. Valentine, former commissioner of the largest police force in the world, takes over for Gangbusters to interview by proxy Sheriff T.L. Head of Tunica County, Mississippi. Commissioner Valentine.
Commissioner Head, the notorious criminal, Valansky, has been front-page news within the past 3 weeks, and we're all very anxious to hear the inside facts.
Well, Commissioner Valentine, in the spring of 1940, Stanley Valansky and his partner, James K. Tillotson, were two of the trickiest gunmen at large. Using the names of Robert Hack and James Stewart, they stopped at a fashionable inn at Laconia, New Hampshire, and posed as sons of very wealthy families.
How about it? Another demi-tasse, Valansky?
Will you cut out that Valansky stuff? Registered here as Hack and Stewart. Somebody will hear you.
Okay. Oh, but what a hotel. A dining terrace overlooking a mountain lake. Yes, sir. Home was never like this back at the penitentiary.
Oh, stop the gagging.
Okay.
Yeah. There's something in the newspaper that might interest you.
Let's see. Wells Beach, Maine. Local store robbed by 2 masked gunmen. Now, I wonder who they could be. You'd think those guys would learn that crime don't pay.
Yeah. Wouldn't you, then? Oh, come on. Come on, let's go.
Now, we ain't had no dessert yet.
I said, come on.
Lean against the rail like this, kind of casual like.
What for?
You see those two girls just finishing dinner across the pavilion?
I'll say a couple of dolls.
Well, one of them is Martha Sanford, an old New England family.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you know?
I checked on her this afternoon. She and her girlfriend are going to be our first bit of camouflage.
Oh, boy. Imagine being camouflaged with them. Camouflage me all over, brother.
Oh, shut up. Just take along with whatever I say.
I think it's just horrid your mother and dad want to drag me off to Bar Harbor. Yes, I wish I could stay on here with you, Martha. Anyway, it won't be for another 2 weeks.
I beg your pardon, but aren't you Martha Sanford?
Why, yes.
Oh, I guess you don't remember me. So many fellas were giving you the rush at Dartmouth last winter.
Oh, were you at Dartmouth that week?
Yeah. I guess I didn't make much of an impression, though. My name is Hack, Bobby Hack.
Bobby Hack. Were you in the ski jumping contest?
No, I was just a spectator, but, well, Jimmy here, he tried to break his neck in the ski jump.
Me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Sanford. This is Jimmy Stewart.
How do you do? And this is Julie Harris. How do you do?
Hello, Miss Harris. Well, you girls seem to be going somewhere. It was nice meeting you again, though, and perhaps we'll see you now that we're all here at the resort together.
I don't see why not.
Well, that'll be fine. Well, goodbye, Miss Sanford. It's been a pleasure, Miss Harris.
Yeah, me too.
Goodbye. Oh, goodbye.
Look, for Pete's sake, will you cut out that Me Too stuff?
My Belansky, what did you let him get away for? We could have dated him easy.
There's no rush. No rush at all. We won't pull another job until next week. And we'll use him proper.
Attention, squad room. Report from Cambridge, Massachusetts on warehouse robbery. 2 gunmen believed heading this direction in black Buick, Massachusetts license, heavily armed and dangerous. All police be on alert for this car.
Come on, let's get into the car, will you? Those girls don't come, we'll go without them.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Get in. Society dames never are on time anyhow, Tillotson.
Should I go into the hotel and tell them to shake a leg?
Look, you don't tell society dames like them to shake a leg.
Oh, you don't, huh? Okay. But I'm still sick of waiting.
Oh, here they come now.
Hello, have we kept you waiting long?
Well, if 1 hour ain't long, you ain't.
Oh, don't pay any attention to Jimmy, girls. I'm trying to cure him of the habit of saying ain't, but he says some of the Harvard boys say it. So... Hop in, girls. Jim, get in the back seat with Julie.
Okay, you're the boss.
He does have a grouch. Indigestion?
You'll get over it, Martha. Well, girls, where'll it be?
It really doesn't matter.
Now, look what's coming. Scram.
Cop.
What did you say?
Get going, will you? That flatfoot's coming over to the car.
What's the matter with you boys?
Oh, pardon me.
This your car, young man?
Why, yes, officer.
Black Buick, eh?
What's wrong with that, officer?
It may be nothing, miss. Only we're looking for a car of this type in connection with a holdup over in Massachusetts.
Well, the very idea. Are you accusing us?
I'm not accusing anybody. Just checking.
Oh, never mind, Julie. The officer has to do his duty.
New Hampshire plates. The bandit car had a Massachusetts license.
Well, there's your answer, officer. Okay, pal, let's go.
Just a moment. You're probably okay, but let's see your driver's license and car registration.
Oh, I certainly, officer. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't seem to have them with me.
Now, see here, this is ridiculous. I'm Martha Sanford, officer, and if you want proof of who I am...
I'm not worried about you, young woman. But your escorts here will have to identify themselves. I'll stand on the running board. You better drive to the police station.
No, you don't. Cop it. Step on it, pal.
Bobby, what are you doing?
Sit low in your seats.
Fire! Bobby, stop this car.
Shut up. That cop's running back to his car. He's coming after us.
Oh, please stop. We'll all be killed.
Shut up, I'll crown you.
You must be bandit.
Look out, pal.
You'll hit that tree. No!
Polanski.
Yeah.
You okay?
Hey, just about we knocked out. Here, help me out of here.
My back. My back.
Come on, get me out of here, will you? Yeah.
There we are.
Okay.
My back. Oh. I'm dying.
Come on, Belansky, we got to blow.
Yeah, you said it. Ah, she'd die, she'd die.
I'm Barton of the FBI, Lieutenant Weber. They told me at the station I'd find you here at the hospital.
I'm glad you got here, Mr. Barton.
Any idea yet who the gunmen were?
Yes. Fingerprints on the wrecked Buick indicate the driver was Stanley Belansky.
Belansky, huh? And the whole country's looking for him. How are the girls?
Well, Miss Harris will recover. The doctors say Miss Sanford is dying.
Oh, that's terrible.
Her back was broken. She's right here in the emergency room. This way. Don't leave, nurse. We may need you as a witness.
Good Lord, how young and pretty she is.
Miss Sanford, can you see this picture I have in my hand?
Is that Belansky's picture, Lieutenant?
Yes.
It's not clear. Hazy.
I'll hold it closer.
Yes. Yes. Bobby Hack. He said...
You're positive, Miss Sanford?
Yes, I know.
I'm afraid there's nothing more we can do here, Lieutenant. She identified the picture just in time.
Warning. Gunmen believed to be Belansky and Tillotson have just pulled new holdup. Watch greater Boston area. Belansky headed that way, armed and dangerous. Attention. North Walpole Sporting Goods Store robbed of 40 rifles, 30 revolvers, large quantities of ammunition. Special notice, new kidnapping and robbery. Believed work of Belansky and Tillotson.
Three Oaks Inn, and the rocks are glassy. You know, Tillotson, this is one of the swellest views on the whole North Shore.
Let's skip the scenery, Belansky. It's after midnight. Let's get to work. Now, New England ain't healthy for us no more. I want to get this job over with and head south like we planned.
Okay. Just think of it, though, pal. This hotel's full of people.
Come on, will you? Will you come on?
Okay. I'll let the manager's bedroom's that window up there on the second floor. Yeah. We can climb up this trellis.
Okay, I'll go first. Just like Romeo climbing up the trellis.
Watch it.
Yeah. Easy.
Get up here. There it is. There's a telephone trunk wire. Got it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Go on in through that open window.
Okay.
Watch it. All right, come on. Flash your light.
Hey, this ain't no manager's bedroom. It's a woman's.
Yeah.
What is it, Joe?
Don't make no noise, lady.
You make another sound and we'll choke you right out of this world. Now, who are you? You guest here?
I'm the cook. But no good will it do you.
Take us to the manager's room.
You let me be.
Why, you fat cow, I'll break your neck.
Mrs. Leary, is anything wrong in there? Mrs. Leary.
Who's that?
Quiet.
It's burglars, Mr. Brown.
Wrap that gun around her head.
What is this? What's going on?
Get your hands up. Why? Get your hands up. You're Brown, the manager, ain't you?
Yes.
Now get this straight. You've got a lot of wealthy guests here. We're going to go around to each room. You're going to knock on the door and wake them up. We're going to rob every one of them.
No, I won't.
We'll do what we say, mister.
And after we rob all the guests, then you'll open the hotel safe. We're doing a complete job.
Yeah. Spring house cleaning.
And don't try any funny work. The telephone wires are cut. We're way off on these isolated rocks, and if necessary, we can kill everyone here.
Boy, this will go down in history. Robbing a whole hotel at one time.
Yes, Commissioner Valentine. For over 2 hours, Belansky and Tillotson held everyone in that hotel at gunpoint.
And that, Sheriff Head, was one of the most daring robberies in years. Now, Sheriff Head, Belansky and his partner, Tillotson, after robbing an entire hotel, headed south.
Yes, Commissioner Valentine. And they pulled so many big robberies in the South, our time doesn't permit us to enumerate them. But the gunmen continued to follow out their plan of camouflaging themselves by going around with only the leading families and the finest girls. In fact, one such young lady went driving with them just outside of Biloxi, Mississippi.
It's awfully sweet of you young men to drive your way out to my uncle's like this. I do hate riding on buses.
Isabel, it's easy to be sweet to a girl like you.
Yeah, besides, you could camouflage.
Camouflage?
Oh, he means you're so pretty you dress up the cars.
Oh, you know, I never thought I'd like northern boys, but I feel like I've known you two all my life. Oh, here's my uncle's house. Turn in his driveway.
Okay.
I know Uncle's going to be glad to see you.
To see us?
Uh-huh.
Does he know we're coming?
Why, sure. I telephoned him and told him I was bringing out the nicest young man.
Hey, that your uncle's car in front of the house?
Why, yes.
Hey, wait a minute, Isabel. Just who is your uncle?
Well, I told
Never mind his name. There's a police car there. There's a star on it.
Well, what's got you boys so upset? Just because my uncle's a sheriff?
It's a trap, pal. He brought us here on purpose.
Now, why should I do such a thing as that?
Because you probably read the account of the holdup at the Wiggins Bank.
Belansky, the guy's coming out of the house.
Yeah, I see him.
Well, that's my uncle.
Yank the dame back in the car. We'll hold her as a hostage. Come here, you.
No, you don't.
Oh, yeah, the heck with it. Go on, step on it. Hey, that guy's shooting at us.
Keep low.
If I could only get my hands on that dame now, I'd kill her.
What a rotten trick she pulled on us. I'm telling you, Belansky, it's getting so you can't trust nobody. Nobody.
Come in. Hello, Captain James.
Well, Barton, what brings you down to Biloxi?
Those two bank robbers whose description you broadcast yesterday. The ones who robbed the Wiggins Bank. I flew down as soon as I read about them.
Flew down? The FBI must want them mighty bad.
They sound like the men we've been chasing all over New England. Belansky and Tillotson.
I'm sorry, but we haven't even got a clue on them, Barton.
Well, Captain James, I've been studying their method of operation for weeks. And I've got an idea of how we might get on their trail.
Yeah? How?
Well, those gunmen never hide out in the usual places. They appear in public with respectable girls and pose as young men of wealth.
By Godfrey, that's how Sheriff Howard's niece almost caught him.
Now, it's only a hunch, Captain James. But I have an idea. If we canvass the restaurants and entertainment spots, we may find Belansky and Tillotson spending some of their money right under our noses.
This cafe we're coming to isn't exactly the highest class spot, Barton, but it's very popular.
Well, we might as well try it, Captain James. We haven't had any luck yet. Well, you can give the place the once-over from the vestibule here.
Quite a crowd.
Oh, no sign of... Hey, James.
Yeah?
That table in the far corner, near the exit sign.
Is that Belansky?
Yeah. The girl at the table with him and that other chap. That's Tillotson.
What a break. There's so many people in there, they're jammed in like sardines.
How are we going to get to that table without being spotted?
Both Tillotson and Belansky are bound to have guns. If they ever start shooting in that crowd, it'll be a wholesale massacre.
Yeah. Wait, I've got an idea. Here's a couple of waiters' aprons.
Yeah. Say, that might do the trick.
Hide the string of back away.
Right. You think we ought to carry a tray or something?
No, we'll need our hands for action.
I'm ready.
Now, remember, James, we've got to grab those rats before they can pull their guns. If they do spot us, jump for the table.
Yeah?
Knock the table over and pull the tablecloth over their heads.
Right.
Okay? Come on. Not too fast, James. Not too fast.
Yeah. Girl's looking this way.
Yeah, I see her. Keep walking. Just a few more steps.
He sees us.
Come on, dive for him fast.
Right.
They got me. Got that glass. You get lousy. Put the cuffs on him, Chance. I got this one.
Okay, you bet on short. Sure.
Okay, Belansky, start walking. You and Tillotson are all washed up.
Well, Commissioner Valentine, Belansky and Tillotson were sentenced to life in prison in the Mississippi Penitentiary for robbing the Wiggins Bank. But just 22 days ago, on October 5th, at 8 o'clock Friday morning, 4 prisoners were loaded into the truck cage at the penitentiary to be taken to the prison farm. One of those prisoners was Belansky. The prison truck was driving along the road.
Now listen, you guys.
Yeah.
I think we're safe because they got us in this iron cage in the back of the truck here. We had a .38 smuggled into prison. Kennedy's up next to the driver. They think he's a trustee, but he's got that gun. And he's going to poke at the driver's ribs. Then things are going to happen and happen fast. You ready? Okay, Kennedy.
Stop his truck or I'll blow your head off.
Come on, Kennedy, open this cage quick.
Come on.
Okay, come on, throw that driver in there. Get.
Come on.
That does it. Now, hold on, guys, we're going places. Come on, Kennedy, get this train rolling. Hurry up.
Emergency to all state police and sheriffs. Stanley Belansky and 4 other convicts escaping in prison truck along Highway 7. These convicts all armed and will kill. Block all roads. Block all roads. Attention, all police. Attention, all police. Belansky and convicts who abandoned prison truck and kidnapped women and children have released victims and are now fleeing in black Buick sedan along road to Tunica. Be ready to shoot it out with fleeing convicts, headed by Belansky.
Kennedy, look. There's lights in the road up ahead. Must be cops.
We can run them down, Belansky.
You guys lie down on the floor of the car. Get out. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to shoot out with them?
No cop's ever going to take me again, I'll tell you that.
All right, then. Here we go.
Come on. Hey, they didn't get us.
Just ahead, this road to the left. Leads in the swamp.
Take it. Every cop in the South is after us. I'll kill him. I'll kill him if they ever get anywhere near me.
Hold on now. Gonna take that turn.
And look out the tree.
I can't. Look out, man. It's not working. Here. Get out of the car, man. The cops are already come down the road.
All right. Come on, fellas. Take to the swamp. It's our only chance.
Come on,
this way.
Come on, man.
Keep going.
I sure don't know how you ever found this deserted house, Belansky. You're mighty good.
Yeah, those fools were out looking for us in the swamp. Right, you and me was having ourselves a good night's sleep in this house here.
Sun will be up in a few minutes.
Yeah,
how are we going to get out of these parts?
Don't you worry about that. I got more tricks up my sleeve than these hicks down here ever dreamed of.
I think we ought to get going now. Hey, Belansky.
What's the matter?
There's a whole army surrounding the house.
What?
Men, dogs, guns.
Why, the dirty rats.
Yeah.
All right, I give up. I give up, coppers. I'm through.
And this time, Belansky, you're through for good.
Yes, Commissioner Valentine. Just 3 weeks ago today, Belansky was caught in that deserted house. And tonight, he's once again in the Mississippi State Penitentiary for life.
This has been a very, very interesting case, Sheriff Head. Belansky could have been a real success in life. But instead, he has nothing to look forward to except prison bars.
From across the Atlantic, from across the Pacific, our fathers, sons, and brothers are returning to a new America. A crime wave has followed every war, and we must not allow lawbreakers to tear down here at home the very ideals that our men have fought to preserve. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
Get this and get it straight. Crime Doesn't Pay, which was the motto of our next broadcast from the pen of Raymond Chandler. The first show aired on NBC in June 1947, and then in 1948 the series moved to CBS, where it was renamed. For 114 episodes, the CBS version ran and ended in September 1950. It was a more hard-boiled program than many of the other private detective shows at the time, containing few quips or quaint characters. We're proud to present to you The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, right here on HOJO Radio.
It was hot, boiling hot that night. I wanted to grab a beer and turn in early. So what happens? I get my beer, but with it comes a gunshot, a beautiful woman in trouble, and murder.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime mystery, CBS presents his most famous character, brought to you now in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. With Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's unusual story, Red Wind.
There was a rough desert wind blowing into Los Angeles that evening. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair and make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends in a fight, and meek little housewives feel the edge of a carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen when the Santa Ana blows in from the desert. I closed up my office early. I got tired of reading Philip Marlowe, private investigator, backwards on the ground glass of my office door. So I locked up and decided a nice cold beer would taste good before I went up to my apartment.
Fill her up again, Mr. Marlin?
Marlowe.
Marlin.
Yeah, Marlin's a fish.
Yeah, I know.
Marlin's also the name of a lady on the radio. Marlin, Mary, the story of.
Yeah, my wife listens to it.
Yeah, good for her.
Hi. Hey, you bartender. Another rye.
Yeah, that drunk again.
What do you expect in this business? Autograph hounds?
Make it sappy. You hear?
Be right with you, sport. Gotta draw this man a beer. Crying out loud, these stumblebums.
Hey, Bud.
You got another customer, Bacchus?
Hey, Bud, you seen a lady in here lately?
A lady?
Tall, good-looking, brown hair, a print bolero jacket, and a blue silk dress.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nobody like that, Spinian.
All right, straight scotch, fast.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
As the man drank, I noticed the drunk was grinning at him. And then, without changing his grin, the drunk swept a gun from somewhere so fast it was just a blur coming out. Made a couple of hard snaps and a little smoke. Very little.
You other guys, don't move. So long, Waldo. Don't move, you two. Poor Waldo. I bet I made his nose bleed. So long, boys. Drink up.
Get on the phone, kid. I'll get his license number.
Holy smoke.
Too late. He drove away in the dead guy's car.
Maybe he ain't dead.
No, he's dead, all right.
Oh.
That guy was using a .22 target pistol.
Yeah.
When they use that kind of gun, they don't make mistakes. Where's your phone? This is for the police. Prowl car boys were there in 5 minutes. Waldo was out of business, all right. Nothing in his pockets told who he was, but he had about $700 on him. And with that kind of heavy coin, you can buy a good 1910 automobile even today. Well, I told the cops what I knew, including about Waldo's brown-haired, pretty girl in the bolero jacket. It was about 9 o'clock when I stepped out of the elevator in my apartment house and almost walked right into a brown-haired, pretty girl in a bolero jacket, waiting for the elevator on my floor.
Oh, excuse me.
Just a minute, lady.
What is it?
I'm a great admirer of bolero jackets.
What?
Now, take the one you've got on, for instance.
I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry.
No, wait.
If you'll be good enough to let me... Oh, you've made me miss the elevator.
It's just as well.
What?
Well, it's better you don't go out in those clothes.
What do you mean?
Tall, good-looking, bolero jacket, blue silk dress. Mm-hmm. Lady, might I take the trouble of telling you that you're in trouble?
Trouble?
Yeah, the cops are looking for you. In those clothes.
I haven't done anything.
Maybe not. But if I were you, I'd have a little talk with me.
I've all the
I'm in
nerve...
room 41 across the hall. I know things about you.
Well...
Good girl. Come along. It took a firm grip on her arm, but I managed to get her to my room. I rustled up some drinks, but when I turned to give her hers, I saw she held a small automatic. She looked at me steadily. I put down both glasses slowly so I wouldn't be misunderstood. Look, sister, I know it's hot tonight and heat does funny things to people, but let's put that little thing away and have a nice cool drink, huh?
Don't move.
Oh, I'm strictly frozen in my tracks.
Stay that way.
Okay. But wouldn't you like to know that I'm a private detective?
Private detective?
Yeah, I can prove it if you'll let me. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I don't like those things pointed at me.
I'll have that drink.
Oh, good. I don't often give good liquor away like this. I can't afford it.
Why are they after me?
Well, a man was just shot in a bar down the street. Before he got it, he'd been asking about a tall, pretty girl with a bolero jacket.
What did he look like, this man?
Oh, he was tall, about 5'11", slim, dark brown eyes with a lot of glitter, dark suit, white handkerchief in the breast pocket. And he must have seen you early at night to know how you were dressed. Am I getting anywhere?
He used to be my chauffeur.
You had an appointment with him, didn't you?
I...
He asked for you, didn't he?
Yes, I had an appointment with him. He'd stolen something from me when he left 3 days ago. I was going to buy it back from him.
Why didn't you tell the police?
I couldn't tell him.
It was valuable, wasn't it? Valuable enough for Waldo to steal.
$15,000.
Peanuts.
But it wasn't the value. You see, it meant something to me. The man I loved gave it to me. And now he's dead. He was shot down over Germany. Now go back and tell my husband that. He probably hired you.
He did? How much is he paying me? And where is this husband of yours?
He's at a meeting.
This late at night?
He's a very important man. The hydroelectric engineer.
Never mind about him. What about Waldo? Why was he knocked off?
You mean he's dead? Waldo is dead?
Yes, sister, he's dead, very dead. Screaming won't bring him back.
I'm not going to scream. Who would that be?
There's a dressing room behind the door. Hide there. Take your glass with you.
All right.
I went to the door, making a loud, yawning sound. Foolishly, I didn't have my gun. That was a mistake. Because when I opened the door, the guy on the other side certainly had one. A .22 target automatic that had already killed one man that night. And I knew the bald head, the flat, shiny eyes, and the face like a poisonous lizard. Baldy put the muzzle of his gun lightly against my throat. I backed into the room, and Baldy kicked the door shut.
You alone?
Look for yourself.
I'm asking, not looking.
I'm alone.
You and that dumb bartender saw me dust off Waldo.
What did Waldo do to you?
Who's asking?
Just making conversation.
He stooled on me on a bank job we did together. Got me 4 years in Michigan Penn. How is he?
Dead.
Well, I'm still good. Drunk or sober. Tell me why I came here, pal.
You heard the barkeep and me talking. I told him my name and where I lived.
Oh, that's how, pal. I said why.
Skip it. The hangman won't ask you to guess why he's there.
You're pretty tough at that, ain't you, pal? But you're slamming off.
All right. But, could you get that gun out of my neck and try somewhere else? Just any place.
This better? This suits you all right?
Yeah, just so it isn't my neck.
Say when, pal. It's your party.
I leaned against the gun weakly. The door of the dressing room showed a crack of darkness. The crack widened. I began to shake a little in spite of the heat. The girl came quietly into the room, but there was white all around her irises. She was scared. She had a gun in her hand, but I was sorry for her. Dead sorry. She tried to make the door a scream. Either way, it would be curtains for both of us.
Scared, mister? Worried about any little thing?
I couldn't talk. The girl floated in the air somewhere behind Baldy, and her horrified face was drifting toward us. My mouth was as cold and dry as yesterday's toast.
Well, kid, how's it feel? You ready yet? Say the word.
Well, don't take all night about it. If you're going to do something about it, do it.
Why not, pal? I like this.
Suppose I yell.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Put up your hand.
Hey, look! Thanks, sister. That buys me. Everything I have is yours, now and forever.
Is he dead?
And flatter me, no end, lady. I only punched him. Now get out of here while I call the cops down on this killer.
Yes. Good night.
Wait a minute. That jacket marks you for the cops. Leave it here. You don't need it in this kind of weather.
Oh, yes, here.
Okay. See you again?
Why?
I don't know. Who am I to be the rival of a dead flyer and things like that? Nah, on second thought, forget the whole thing. I'll see that the police get Jesse James here. Good night, lady. Yeah? You mean me?
Yes, please.
Oh, you again.
Get in. I want to talk to you.
You want to know what happened at headquarters?
Yes.
I went down to headquarters with the law and gave them the story. I left you out of it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you saved my life. So no one knows anything about you. Incidentally, neither do I.
My name is Mrs. Frank Barsley. 212 Fremont Place. Olympia 24596. That what you wanted?
I guess so.
Well, there it is.
Now, why'd you really come back?
I wanted my pearls.
Oh, no. Pearls, too?
Yes.
All right, tell me about the pearls. We've had a murder, a beautiful mystery woman, and a sadistic killer, and an heroic rescue. Now we will have pearls.
I was to buy them back from the man called Waldo.
Well, I saw everything that came out of his pockets. There weren't any pearls.
Could they be hidden in his apartment?
It's possible.
Waldo lived on the same floor you do, in this apartment house.
And why didn't I know him, at least by sight?
Well, he just moved in last week. He managed to get a sublet.
Sort of amateur magician on the side, huh?
It's, getting rather late.
Yeah. What about your husband this hot, mysterious night?
He's still at his meeting.
Good.
Why did you say that?
I didn't have any answers. We just sat there looking at one another. I was suddenly aware of the hot desert wind stirring up the night. I took hold of her and I kissed her. She sat very still. I was shaking when I let go of her. Her voice trembled a little when she spoke.
I meant you to do that. Oh, I wasn't always this way. Only since Johnny Dalmas was killed in the war. He gave me those pearls. 41 of them. With a diamond propeller clasp. I'd have loved them if they were wooden beads because he gave them to me. I loved Johnny. The way you love just one time. You understand that?
Yes, I can. What I don't understand is how you could explain a $15,000 pearl necklace to your husband.
Told him they were imitation. That I bought them myself.
How did Waldo latch onto them and what they stood for?
When my husband was in Argentina, Waldo and I would go for long drives. I was restless and wretched because of Johnny. Sometimes Waldo and I had a little drink together. But that was all.
But you confided in Waldo about those pearls.
Yes.
And when your husband came back, Waldo stole the pearls and offered to sell them back to you. He'd tell Papa.
Oh, I was a fool.
And now you think the pearls are upstairs in Waldo's apartment.
I suppose it's a lot to ask.
I've been paid. I'll go look. Wait here. Was I gone long,
No.
Lola?
Well,
No.
no pearls?
No pearls.
Oh.
There was a man in Waldo's room.
Man.
You know a guy named Leon Velasanos?
No, not by name. I don't know him.
Mexican, South American, about 45, small, iron gray hair, very neat. Fawn-colored suit, wine-colored tie.
No, I don't think I know such a man. You say he was in the room?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Very little. In fact, nothing. He was dead.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by one of America's most outstanding writers of crime and mystery fiction, Raymond Chandler. Our story for today, The Red Wind, continues in just a moment. But first, a message of interest for all young men. How would you like to be up there in the wild blue sky, flying America's mightiest bombers, fastest fighters, and newest jet jobs? Believe me, it's a great feeling to know that you have the skill, the courage it takes to become a pilot officer in the United States Air Force, the Air Force that's second to none. Keep your eye on the local newspapers and your nearest Army Air Force recruiting station. An aviation cadet recruiting team will be in your community soon. If you're between the ages of 20 and 26 and a half years of age, single and a high school graduate, plan to see the aviation cadet interviewing team. If you pass the mental and physical examination, you'll be accepted for the 52-week aviation cadet training program. When you graduate, you'll be a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force, the mightiest of all. And now, back to the adventures of Philip Marlowe. With Gerald Moore as our star, we continue today's adventure.
I sat with Lola Bosley in her car, listening to the hot wind gallop around in the midnight streets. I just told her about the Latin-looking man I'd found in Waldo's room in a very dead condition. I held her hands until they stopped trembling, and then I gave her the few remaining details. He had a gun in his shoulder holster, but someone had strangled him before he could set up in business with a gun.
Someone? You mean Waldo?
Maybe. You see that convertible coupe 2 cars ahead of us?
Oh, it's been there for hours. There before I parked here to wait for you.
Well, Leon, the guy in Waldo's room, came in that car. But according to the key container he carried, it isn't his car.
Well, whose car is it? And does it matter?
Yeah, it belongs to a lady, according to the tag on the car keys. Eugenie Kolchenko, West Los Angeles.
Never heard of her.
Mm-hmm. Well, you better go home now.
What are you going to do?
I'll drive that flossy convertible around and wave at my friends. Impress people. You run along now. Me, I've got another date.
Yes. What is it, please?
Miss Eugenie Kolchenko?
Yes. What is it?
Did you lose or misplace a pigeon gray convertible coupe?
What are you saying?
Now, don't be alarmed. I found it, brought it home to you.
Oh, come in, please. It is a reward you wish. Shall we say...
Snap out of it, dragon lady. Who was he?
Who was who?
The little guy, Leon, you loaned your car to. He's dead. Who was he?
Oh, no. No.
Eugenie.
Darling, come here, please.
What's the matter, my dear? Who is this man?
I came about Miss Kolchenko's car.
What about her car?
Well, the gentleman who borrowed it couldn't return it on account of he isn't alive.
He's dead, darling. He is dead.
That's putting it more bluntly, of course.
Dead, huh?
Yeah, completely.
Who are you?
Philip Marlowe, private investigator. My card.
Have you told the police yet?
Never do at once what can be profitably deferred pending negotiation. Aesop.
I might negotiate.
Peachy.
Just what do you know, Marlowe?
Well, a man named Waldo was shot in a bar tonight. I happen to have the inside as to who he was, and when I visited his apartment tonight, I found this Leon Velasanos dead.
He wouldn't have had $500 in 20s on him, would he?
No. But this Waldo had over $700 on him when he was killed in that cocktail bar, mostly in 20s. Is there a basis for negotiation yet?
Very well, Marlowe. There were certain bills for some stuff Miss Kolchenko here had charged to my account.
But, darling, you told me I might charge to your account.
All right, my dear, so I wasn't bright.
That might be the understatement of the decade, but go on.
I had the bills safely in my briefcase. Somehow this Waldo had a chance to steal the briefcase. I hired Leon, gave him $500 to buy back those bills from Waldo.
Instead, Waldo took Leon's coupons, was forced to kill Leon in the process. Then he went out to keep another date and walked into an old pal hostile enough to blow him down, huh?
And somebody still has those bills, and I'm in for a divorce suit, huh?
The man who shot Waldo got away in Waldo's car with your briefcase in it, could be. Cops caught him.
And the police have the briefcase?
Maybe. But the police are interested in solving crimes, not in tossing mud for the benefit of sensation eaters. I have a friend or two at headquarters. Let me see what I can do.
It's worth $500 to me, Marlowe.
Then that's what it'll cost you.
All right. Good luck, and thank you, Mr.
Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, remember?
Marlowe. My name is Frank Barsley.
Barsley? Oh.
And just what does that mean?
The big hydroelectric engineer.
Yeah. Yes, how'd you know?
Never mind. May I use your telephone? Someday I must tell you about Ibarra. Oh, he's a soul of the earth, Ibarra. Detective lieutenant over at Central Homicide. Well, I phoned Ibarra from Miss Kolchenko's house and told him where he could find a well-dressed cadaver named Leon, and furnished a few small details. I gave Ibarra time to check my tip, and then I went down to see the good lieutenant and told him why I'd been up in Waldo's room, only to find Leon instead of a certain lady's string of pearls.
Pearls, eh?
Yeah, I thought Waldo might have had them up there.
Whose pearls were they?
The ladies.
Go on.
Or they might have been in Waldo's car that Waldo's killer drove away in.
Yeah?
What, yeah?
They might have.
Yeah. Also, a batch of bills charged to the account of a certain Frank Barsley.
Yeah?
The police aren't interested in domestic scandal. They want to prevent or solve crimes, right?
So?
So, I've got $500 for the police fund. If those pearls and those bills are returned to their rightful owners.
Quit your kidding.
It's a valuable necklace.
Yeah. There's your necklace. Take it away.
On the level, Ibarra?
Just tell me straight what it's all about. All I ask.
Sure. Well, you see, this Waldo was blackmailing a wife with the pearls and her husband with the bills. Barsley, that's the guy's name, sent Leon to get the bills from Waldo. Waldo killed him and then stepped out and got nailed by that guy in the bar he'd stool pigeoned against once. Well, if Barsley's name stays out of the papers, I get $500. It goes to the police fund.
Thanks. We'll keep them out.
I'm not in this case for money. I just want to get back the bills and the pearls.
Sure. And like you say, Marlowe, the police aren't in business to sling mud.
Look, you can deliver the pearls to the lady yourself if you like.
No, you better take them to her, Marlowe. You see, except for that diamond propeller clasp on them, they're phony.
Phony?
But look, Marlowe, I know pearls. Real pearls feel gritty between the teeth. These are hard and glassy. Try.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're phony. All but the clasp, Marlowe. All but the clasp.
I took the pearls and had them appraised the next morning at a gilt-edged place in Beverly Hills. Phony, all but the clasp. An imitation as good as these couldn't have been made that fast. These were the pearls that Waldo had stolen. I took the glass pearls to a dive on Melrose and had them duplicated for $20. I had the jeweler attach the diamond clasp to the $20 duplicate string of pearls. Then I called up Lola. Hello, Lola. Okay, you're in?
Oh, Mr. Marlowe. Yes, it's okay here.
I have a string of pearls for you.
Oh, really, Philip? Really? Did you get...
Now, wait a minute, Lola. Waldo was getting set to gyp you. We sold the real pearls and made up a string with the diamond clasp.
Oh. Well, may I at least have the clasp?
Sure. Meet me at 4 at Nikolaev's.
Nikolaev's at 4. I'll be there.
There you are, Lola. These are the pearls the police found in Waldo's car.
You were right. They're not my pearls.
I'm sorry, Lola.
No. I still have the clasp that Johnny gave me.
Well, I'm happy if you are.
Happy? No, not quite happy. See, this morning my husband told me we're to separate.
Oh, I'm very sorry, Lola.
You've been very kind.
That's all right.
This is goodbye, I suppose.
Yeah. You'll never get over Johnny Dalmas. Goodbye, Lola. If anybody ever bothers you again, let me know, huh? Name's Marlowe. Philip Marlowe.
I'll remember. Philip Marlowe.
I drove almost to Malibu. And then I parked. And then I walked, way out on a rock cliff jutting into the Pacific Ocean. And then I reached into my pocket and dug out the string of bohemian glass pearls that Lieutenant Ibarra had found in Waldo's car. I cut the knot at one end and slipped the pearls off, one by one. One by one, I flipped them into the water. Should have seen the gulls swoop down on them. Then they flapped up again, screaming indignantly. Phony pearls. They'd fooled Waldo and Lola Barsley, but they couldn't fool a seagull. I said aloud, to the memory of Johnny Delmas, just another four-flusher. I listened a while to the wheeling seagulls. All at once I realized that the wind had died. The Santa Ana had blown itself out. The red wind was done. It was over. It was cool again.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. In tonight's story, Red Wind, Lola was played by Peggy Weber and Barry Kroger was Baldy. Joan Banks played Eugenie Kolchenko. Jeff Corey was Lieutenant Ibarra. Parley Bear was Barsley. Lou Krugman was Waldo, and Wilms Herbert played the bartender. The special music was conceived and conducted by Ivan Ditmars. Philip Marlowe will be back in just a moment. Young man, be a Marine. Combine travel, adventure, and education at no expense to yourself. When you're a Marine, you can travel to the far places of the earth and carry on at the same time your own educational program through free Marine Corps Institute correspondence courses. You have plenty of courses to choose from, and an ideal way of studying geography or history is to take a course dealing with the background of the area in which you are stationed, or any of the more than 160 Marine Corps Institute courses. Thanks to this Marine Corps Institute, thousands of Marines are making continual educational advancements during their service in the U.S. Marine Corps. That opportunity, upon becoming a U.S. Marine, is yours for the asking. Check with your nearest Marine Corps recruiting office tomorrow for complete information. Next week at this same time, be sure to tune in for another adventure of Philip Marlowe, when Marlowe says,
I was low, very low the night I set out searching for the girl with the strange hazel eyes. The fog which hung over Los Angeles didn't help. And I felt even worse when I found her. For by then I had death on my hands.
If you like your laughs mingled with spicy music, be around tomorrow to hear the premiere of Alka-Seltzer Time, featuring Herb Schreiner and Raymond Scott's quintet. There'll be guest stars, too. Here's a show that's guaranteed to keep Monday from being blue. It's coming your way Mondays through Fridays over most of these CBS stations. So consult your local newspaper for the time of Alka-Seltzer Time. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
I felt low, very low, the night I set out searching for the girl with the strange hazel eyes. The fog which hung over Los Angeles didn't help, and I felt even worse when I found her. For by then I had death on my hands.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's gripping story, The Persian Slippers.
One of those thin, chilly fogs had sneaked in from the Pacific, and it hung vaguely to the streetlights along the Sunset Strip. It was a kind of a fog that you could see through, but everything was out of focus. Made you start wondering what you were going to do when you were 90 and you were all alone. I'd have liked to have spent the night in a room full of noisy extroverts playing charades. But instead, I had to eat a quick dinner and drive up into the secluded Hollywood Hills to meet a guy. A guy who had nothing but trouble on his mind. When I pushed the buzzer, I had the feeling of wishing I was someplace else. Carl Delaney himself opened the door. He was grim and brusque and to the point.
Marlowe?
That's right.
Come in, Marlowe. I appreciate this. You're coming up here after business hours, I mean. I wouldn't have asked except, well, perhaps I waited too long as it is. Sit down.
Thanks. Waited too long for what, Mr. Delaney?
36 hours ago, my wife disappeared. Marlowe, you've got to find her for me. Find her just as fast as you can.
Wait a minute. Disappeared, you said. Would you mind playing that part back a little slower?
Norma simply walked out that door, got in her car, and drove off to get hold of herself, as she always does when we've quarreled. And always before, she's come back in an hour or so. But this time...
This time she simply didn't come back, is that it? Look, Mr. Delaney, I could...
You'd better let me finish before you do anything. Lately, my wife has been brooding over something serious that she refused to discuss. I've caught her crying several times, and she's not a woman given to tears. Marlowe, I'm sure that unless we move fast, when we do find her, we're going to find her dead.
Suicide?
Yeah.
With his thick, blunt hand, Delaney reached for a color portrait lying face down on the table and gave it to me. I looked and saw the face of a dream. A beautiful dream with strange hazel eyes and soft black hair. I felt Delaney watching me as I glanced up in time to catch the fading end of a very ugly expression on his face. I handed the picture back to him, and he laid it on the table again, face down. Then he took me upstairs to Norma's room. It was a nice, frilly room, typically haunted by elusive, sweet smells. There was only one incongruous note. What was the horoscope doing on her desk? From the looks of her picture, I knew that Norma was attractive enough that she didn't need to look to the stars for a future. A horoscope?
Yeah, you know how women are. Marlowe, will you find her for me?
Well, I'll try. My rate is $25 a day plus expenses. And remember, you hired me to find her, not bring her back.
Fair enough. You just find her. I'll be satisfied.
I'll need a starting point. Were there any phone calls or letters or anything that might be a lead? What about friends?
We have no close friends. Norma always stayed to herself. Wait, there was a phone call yesterday from, Madame Jeanette, I think it was.
Who's that, a dressmaker?
I haven't any idea. She wanted to speak to Mrs. Delaney. I told her Norma was out, and she asked that my wife call her when she got back. That's all there was to it.
Anything else you can tell me?
No. No, it's not much to go on.
I'll see what I can do, Mr. Delaney.
I'll be here all night, Marlowe. Call me if you need anything.
I'll do that. Good night. I drove back through the persistent fog to Sunset Boulevard. It was 9:30. I knew it was going to be like tracking a hummingbird through the petrified forest by the bent twigs, but I got a classified directory and I started digging. I checked the hairdressers, the manicurists, and the milliners, and I was just about to start on the interior decorators when I remembered the horoscope on Norma's desk. I quickly turned to the personal consultants. Yeah, there it was. Madame Jeanette. Her establishment, located in the dubious neighborhood south of Olvera Street, turned out to be a tacky cottage set back next to an alley. It was as dark inside as out. I was pounding on the door like a vampire at sunrise when a newsboy came up the path.
Looking for Madame Jeanette?
Yeah, you know her?
Sure, she tells fortunes. Says I've got a great career line. You want to see it?
Not right now, thanks. And I'll say for her that she's a sound sleeper.
Maybe, but not so early as this. About this time, she's always hanging around that bar on the corner. Tonight, she's throwing a farewell party in there.
Farewell party? Who for?
Herself, she's leaving town.
Oh, thanks a lot. Here, kid.
Gee, a buck. My old man will swear I've been shooting crap again.
Give me another one, Charlie. Not every night I say goodbye to my dear old neighborhood.
Muscatel again, Jeanette?
Yeah. Did I say dear old neighborhood, Charlie?
I think you did, Jeanette.
Must have had one too many then. Because of all the low, flea-bitten row of shacks I ever lived in, this is the new low.
Ah, Jeanette, that's no way to talk. You hurt my feelings.
Pinky, there ain't nothing like a little beer to soothe hurt feelings.
Yeah, you said it. Jeanette, can I have another?
Yeah. Charlie, give Pinky another. This is his last.
The last? I thought you said it was a farewell party. Hey, you with all your dough.
This dough's to get me out of this rat trap of a town, see? It's the last I want to see it of it in all my life, see?
Yeah,
Another muscatel, Charlie.
Hold on a minute, Jeanette. Hey, what'll it be, mister?
Something just a bit drier than muscatel. Say scotch?
It's on me, mister. It's my party.
Well, this is indeed a pleasure. You're the Madame Jeanette, aren't you?
Yeah, why?
You're all of 20 years younger than what I expected.
Probably the life I lead. Hey, wait a minute. Why should you be expecting anything about me? I don't know you.
Perhaps not, but I know you.
From where?
Oh, you're more famous than you think. Your reputation has spread far beyond Olvera Street. In fact, it's gone up as far as the Sunset Strip, Madame Jeanette.
No kidding.
How would you kid a fortune teller? Don't you know all, see all, and tell all?
Well...
And judging from that Spanish shawl, your Hungarian skirt, and those embroidered Persian slippers, I'm beginning to think your fame is not only local, but international.
Say, you're beginning to make me feel like I shouldn't be giving up this racket after all.
Giving up fortune-telling? No.
Yeah. I'm leaving town on the midnight train. Gonna spread my talents all over the East, and I'm not coming back.
Don't tell me your crystal ball has laid a golden egg.
So to speak, yeah. I come into some lettuce. Suddenly.
That's always nice. Well, I guess it means you won't be interested in the few paltry dollars I'd intended to spend with you.
Hey, can I have another beer?
Shut up, Pinky Blow.
Ah, just a...
Traveling lady can always use a little extra moolah. What was it you wanted, Bud?
I'm looking for someone. Norma Delaney.
I'm afraid I don't know anybody by that name.
I'm afraid you do.
What's your angle? Who are you, anyway?
I'm Philip Marlowe, private detective.
Some private dick you must be to have to resort to fortune tellers.
Come on, Jeanette. Look into your crystal muscatel. See if you can spot Norma Delaney.
I told you once. I don't know the name. Now blow.
Just a minute, Doc Eyes.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah?
This bird's crabbing my party. What kind of a joint is this, anyway? Lady can't sit here and have a farewell party without being insulted by every jerk that drops in.
Well, mister,
I haven't finished my drink yet.
you got pockets, ain't you? Just pour the drink into one of them and take it along. You ain't finishing it here.
Charlie reached under the bar for his pick handle, so I left without pursuing the subject further. But I knew Jeanette was lying, right in her purple lipstick about Norma. I walked back to my car, lit a cigarette, and spent a few precious minutes trying to decide whether or not to break into her place and snoop. Then I caught the shadow of a figure slipping up on me from behind. I turned.
Wait, don't swing, Mac. Don't swing. It's only me, Pinky. I was in the bar when you was talking to the madam. That tightwad Jeanette.
Yeah, I saw you, so?
She did something the minute you left. I figured you might like to know what it was.
It all depends.
Well, I thought it might be worth something to you, like a saw, maybe.
Come on, you.
No,
Spill it.
Wait a minute.
Spill it.
Wait.
If it's any good at all, it's worth $5 or no more.
All right. She made a phone call.
Who to? What'd she say?
Nothing. Just some swear words in Spanish. The line was busy. But I kept my eyes open, and I got the number.
All right, let's have it, if you can still remember it.
Oh, I can remember it easy. 5 first, huh?
Here.
Thanks. The number was Crenshaw, 1929. But you get it? Like the year of the big crash.
Thanks to the thirst of an underweight lush, I wasn't at the end of my rope yet. I drove as far as the nearest drugstore, dropped a nickel in the slot, and dialed. Crenshaw. The year of the big crash.
Hello?
Hello, let me speak to Norman Delaney, please.
I'm afraid you must have the wrong number.
Look, I'm trying to locate Mrs. Delaney. I suggest you help me.
How did you get this number?
From a client, Mr. Carl Delaney.
But that's impossible.
Let's stop sparring. We can save each other a lot of wear and tear if we get together and talk this over.
Maybe you're right. Yes, that sounds sensible. I'm at the Beechwood Apartments, number 4.
Check. I'll be right out. Mr. Pierre Gillum, it says here on the door.
Yes. You the man who called?
Uh-huh. Philip Marlowe.
Come in, won't you? You said you were looking for Norma Delaney, Mr. Marlowe. Tell me, what's wrong? Has anything happened to her?
Well, her husband seems to think she might have killed herself, but I have a hunch that you might have something interesting to say.
No, poor kid. Poor Norma. Well, I'll tell you what I can, Marlowe, but it isn't much.
Oh, I'm all ears, and I'll sit, thanks.
Well, I was in love with Norma once, briefly, a long time ago. She was a wonderful girl, but her husband was insanely jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she hadn't loved him for years, he refused to give her up. He even threatened to kill her first.
Oh?
Norma and I realized that serious trouble lay ahead, so we parted. Good friends. And I haven't seen her or heard from her in months.
I buy it all but the last line. You have seen or heard from her, and recently.
I'm not going to argue that. I've told you the truth. You can take it or leave it.
I leave it.
Suppose we both put our cards on the table. You lied to me when you said Carl Delaney gave you my number. I know because Madame Jeanette called me shortly after you did.
Touché. But why did she run to call you at the mention of Norma's name if you two broke up months ago? And incidentally, how did that ersatz oracle Jeanette get mixed up in this in the first place?
That is a long story, Marlowe.
Good, I like long stories. I'll bet it begins just for a lark. Norma and I went down to Olvera Street once to have our palms read.
Yes, that's exactly how it started. Madame Jeanette was an unusual woman, a character, you might say.
Uh-huh.
Well, we became friendly with her. Norma got quite sentimental about her. One day we made a sort of pact. If ever either of us was in trouble and needed the other, we'd go to Madame Jeanette or get a message to her. She would notify the other.
So when I walked in asking for Norma, the madam assumed she was in trouble.
Right. Called me immediately because she herself was leaving town in less than an hour.
I know. Well, Mr. Gillum, it's all very interesting, but it's getting me no place. Thanks. If I need you again...
No, wait, Marlowe, don't go. I know a lot of details about Norma that I'm sure will be helpful. For instance, she drives a Nash coupe, powder blue.
Powder blue coupe, huh? Thanks, that'll help.
Oh, and she has a fondness for white gloves. Wears them quite often.
I see. Well, I better get moving.
No, wait just a minute, Marlowe.
I've got to go.
Now, listen, Marlowe.
I told you I was in a hurry.
Now, take it easy. Stick around a while.
Get away from that door.
Look, just who do you think you are? Come busting in here, prying, asking questions, you dirty...
Oh! You asked for it, Gillum. Oh! You got a left, too, huh? So have I, brother. I left Gillum sprawled all over his coffee table, as limp as a 5-cent salad. Outside, I glanced at my watch. Madame Jeanette's train left in 40 minutes. I ran through $22 worth of red lights, getting down to a cottage because I was sure Gillum's attempted stall was tied in with the departure, but I couldn't figure out why. That is, I couldn't until I switched out my lights and coasted to a stop in front of her place. Then I saw it. Half hidden in the shadows back of the house sat a powder blue coupe. I got up on the porch close to the front door and listened. Jeanette was talking to a woman. I couldn't catch what they were saying, but one thing was certain. The woman was Norma Delaney. All at once I realized the talk had stopped. That was my cue. I shoved open the door and went in. Jeanette sat at a table alone, facing me.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, you've returned. What is it this time?
I'd like my fortune told.
Yeah? Now listen close, Gumshoe. I'll make this a short and snappy reading because I'm catching a train in 15 minutes. There's a woman very close to you. In fact, she's right behind you, sucker!
What? No!
When I finally opened my eyes again, nothing changed. It took me a long time to figure out that the lights were off and it was dark. I climbed up the table leg hand over hand and switched on a lamp. Jeanette's house was absolutely quiet. I had caught a glimpse of a white glove known as a blunt instrument just before I dozed off. And that reminded me what I was down here for. I wobbled through the kitchen and out the back door, but the powder blue coupe was gone. It was 12:15. My head and the fog both had gotten a little thicker. So I just stood there, useful like a ping-pong ball in a bowling alley. It was the sound of footsteps that finally moved me, and the newsboy was back.
Well, how you again, mister? Did you ever get a hold of Madame Jeanette before she left?
Yeah, but not tight enough. Say, a blue coupe left here a few minutes ago. Did you see it?
Nope, I didn't. Gee, I'm sure sorry she went away. She gave me $1 tonight, too. Said she was coming into a fortune.
You and your career Say, what's that down there, in those weeds?
I don't know. It looks like some kind of a shoe. Yeah, it is a shoe. Here, see?
What do you know? A Persian slipper. I took the slipper along as a souvenir for my scrapbook and walked back to my car, trying to fit Norma Delaney's lovely hazel eyes in with that crack on the skull. But I couldn't. Between throbs of my headache, I figured Pierre Gillum would know why Norma had dropped in on the madam so close to train time. I decided to go back and ask him. Gillum was as reliable as a two-headed quarter and just as tricky. So when I got to his apartment, I pushed the buzzer, stepped back, and braced myself. There was no fight left in him. He opened the door in his robe, fingered the mouse I had given him, and grinned.
Oh. So you found your way out by yourself.
Uh-huh. Say, Gillum, what was so important about Norma seeing Madame Jeanette just before her train left?
I don't know.
You knew enough to try to keep me here, to delay me. Why?
Oh, Marlowe, I did that for old time's sake, for an old friend. Jeanette asked me to hold you here until midnight, and I tried my best. Obviously wasn't good enough. Well, that's all I know about it.
I see your phone is off the hook. Do you know that?
Yeah, I took it off. It's given me nothing but trouble tonight. I hereby wash my hands of this whole business. I'm going to bed. And I hope to sleep. Good night.
I envied him and left to call my client, Carl Delaney. He said he'd be in all night, but the phone kept ringing and ringing, and no one answered. I suddenly got a very creepy feeling. And 20 minutes later, I pulled to a stop at that small but elegant house. The lights were on, and I saw the powder blue coupe in the garage next to Carl's big black sedan. I ran up the steps. The front door was ajar, so I went in. I found Carl Delaney in front of the fireplace, face down on the floor, dead. There was a handbag on a chair. I opened it. Compact, cigarettes, and a key to room 340 in the Bradford Arms Hotel. No identification. That color portrait of Norma was standing up on the table this time, and those searching hazel eyes seemed to follow me all the way to the telephone.
Lieutenant Ibarra speaking.
Phil Marlowe, Ibarra. There's a dead one at 1077 Hollycrest Road. Named Carl Delaney. Murdered.
I'll be right out.
I hung up the phone, and then the hair on my neck crawled as I heard the unmistakable sound of a woman's heels on the floor upstairs. I ducked behind a door as the heels clicked down the steps. And then she entered the room. Norma Delaney was lovely. As lovely as a picture. She moved calmly and deliberately, put a note on the table, picked up the handbag, and then turned to face the door I was hiding behind.
You can come out now, Mr. Marlowe.
Hello, Mrs. Delaney.
You can call me Norma now. And if you're thinking of using your gun,
Perhaps you'll be good enough to read this note first. Here.
To whom it may concern. I, Norma Delaney, purposely and with premeditation, shot and killed my husband, Carl. It is beyond me to express how deeply I hated him, and since I must pay for this and cannot endure a public spectacle, I shall take my own life within the next few minutes. Now, look, Norma, no guns.
Easy, Marlowe. I'll kill you if necessary. But it would be so pointless now. I'm free at last, and I want to spend the little time left to me in my own way.
Norma, if you'll listen to me
Stay
just
back.
a minute.
Tonight I made my only friend, Madame Jeanette, happy. And I killed a man who needed killing. Something good, something bad. So I'm quitting, even up.
What do you propose to do with me?
You mustn't try to stop me, Marlowe. See that closet?
Mm-hmm.
Get inside. And careful how you move your hands. Turn around to the wall. That's it. Marlowe, I'm sorry I had to hit you at Jeanette's tonight. Goodbye.
It took 3 shots to smash the lock on that closet door. I heard her driving away just as I got it open. In spite of what she'd said, I couldn't let her kill herself. I ran outside to my car. One glance under the hood was all it took. There was nothing left of the wiring but loose ends. I ran into the street and a miracle happened. The first time in my life a taxi in Los Angeles when I wanted it.
I'm sorry, fella. I'm going to call.
Skip it. This is an emergency.
Hey, wait a minute. You
Police
can't...
business. A girl is driving up the road in a blue coupe. We got to catch her before she kills herself. Let's go.
I think I saw taillights just then.
Yeah? Can't you go any faster?
Not on these curves, brother. I got a wife and kids.
Okay, fella. We'll be at the top of the hill when we can get around the next bend. We should spot her then.
Yeah, you can see the whole road down the other side. Here we are, mister. This is the top.
But I don't see her. Where is she? Hey, wait a minute. Stop here. Turn up your motor. This is haywire.
I don't get it. We were gaining on her, and now she just disappears. Hey, what's that?
Motor. That side road we passed. That's it.
Hey, look. Look! Holy smoke.
We both saw the awful sight for just an instant. A powder blue coupe with a woman crouched over the wheel. It shot out of that side road, crashed through the guardrail, and fell end over end down into the gorge. By the time we got to the hole in the fence, the wreck was an inferno.
Oh, no use trying to get down there. The whole hillside will be on fire in another minute.
I guess she pulled over here into this side road and waited for us to go by. And we did.
Yeah, it's sandy here, too. So wonder if she didn't get stuck. What's the matter?
There's something buried here in the sand. One of her tires ran over it.
What is it?
Wait, it's plenty, brother. Come on, turn that hack of yours around. Let's get off this mountain. I just found the answer to a lot of questions.
That you, Marlowe?
Yeah, Lieutenant.
We found the body and the wife's suicide note. And one of the boys spotted that fire up on the hill. What is it?
Car went off the road.
An accident? Or the suicide?
Just a little of both, Ibarra, but we'll talk later. Right now, we got to go to the Bradford Arms Hotel on the double. And please, no siren. The Bradford Arms was a 3-story walk-up. When we got there, Ibarra stationed one man in front, sent another to cover the back, and we started up the stairs. We had reached the 2nd floor when we saw him on the landing above. Gillum. He spotted us at the same time and turned back fast.
There, Marlowe. Who's that?
That's our boy, Ibarra. Pierre Gillum. Let's go.
There he goes. He's heading for the fire escape.
Second Lieutenant, he's all yours. I got business the other way.
Hey, you! Stop or I shoot!
Room 336, 38, 340. It's all over now. You better drop the gun. Please, it's been neat so far. Don't mess it up. Come on, beautiful. Drop it. That's better.
Well, Marlowe, I got him. I had to wing him to bring him down, but here he is. And the lady must be...
Yes, Lieutenant. The lady is Norma Delaney. The girl who wanted to kill her jealous husband and then commit suicide, but didn't want to die doing it. So she used someone else's body, Madame Jeanette's, which was a logical choice because Jeanette was blackmailing her. Thus, two vultures with one stone, leaving two lovebirds free to fly away together. Right, Norma? Didn't you give Madame Jeanette money so she'd leave town and tell everybody she was going away?
Yes, I did.
That way the body wouldn't be missed, huh?
Yeah. Isn't it pretty?
Oh, lay off, Marlowe, can't you?
Okay, Gillum, okay. Ellie Barr, I've got a sour taste in my mouth. I think I'll go home and goggle. Anything else you need?
No, I guess not, Phil. I've had all that's necessary. Wait. Just one thing. How do you get inside this setup? How do you find out it was the dead Madame Jeanette who went over the cliff instead of the very much alive Mrs. Delaney here?
Well, Jeanette had on a pair of Persian slippers, Lieutenant. One fell off down at her cottage where Norma murdered her and put her in the trunk of the car. The other one fell off in the sand of that side road when she took Jeanette out of the trunk and propped her up behind the wheel. Was lucky, Burra. Just dumb luck. I took a walk later. A long walk. All by myself. Through that thin, empty fog in the dark, empty streets. A pair of hazel eyes and a pair of Persian slippers went round and round in my head. And for some reason I kept thinking, a pair of Persian slippers has two soles and two heels. And it's hard to tell just exactly where the one becomes the other.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. In tonight's story, The Persian Slippers, Virginia Gregg was heard as Madame Jeanette, with Larry Dobkin as Pierre Gillum and Louis Van Rooten as Carl Delaney. The additional players were Gene Bates as Norma Delaney, Gil Stratton Jr. as the newsboy, Frank Richards as the barkeep, and Tony Barrett as Pinky. Detective Lieutenant Ibarra was played by Jeff Corey. The special music was conceived and conducted by Ivan Ditmars. Be sure to be with us again next week at this same time when Philip Marlowe says...
Sounded good, real good. A weekend at Malibu, expenses paid with a cash bonus thrown in. But that was before I knew about the henchman, the redhead, and the corpse. These three and a white Panama hat ruined it all for me.
The big star-studded array of CBS Sunday shows starts tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top entertainment programs that make listening to your CBS station a happy habit. 1, Cabin B-13, the popular dramatic show by John Dixon Carr, renowned mystery writer. 2, the new Electric Theater, guest starring Henry Fonda tonight, and regularly starring Helen Hayes, First Lady of the Theater, when she returns from London. 3, Our Miss Brooks, the hilarious comedy success starring Eve Arden. 4, Lum and Abner, a brand new half-hour show of smiles and chuckles with the merchants of Pine Ridge. 5, Strike It Rich, the sensational quiz show with a heart to wind up the sparkling parade of entertainment. Mystery, drama, comedy, excitement tonight over most of these CBS stations. And next Sunday, the first broadcast in the new season for two of radio's greatest stars, Amos and Andy. Yes, Sunday nights are great on CBS. Check your local newspapers for program times. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.